Because
I need another pair as well.
of course you do. Is that your NPR voice?
I need another pair as well. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Jeez.
Hello, I'm on NPR because we're really smart.
Or no, I was thinking of what's ASMR? Is that what it's called?
ASMR? That's where you can hear, like...
How do you feel about my legs being up here right now? What's this doing for you? This real meaty portion of my thigh. That's a calf. See my pineapple tattoo? Do you like that?
Yeah, what's the story behind that?
Not really any. Okay, so I needed to get... I went to the tattoo shop, and one of the guys that tattoos there is a really cool... One of my friends, he's an apprentice at the time, and he needed to do 50 free tattoos in order to become a tattoo artist. So like at the very end of your apprentice program, they make them do 50 free tattoos, little ones, certain ones.
Right.
Do you not like the headphones?
No, they're driving me up the wall, man.
Give them to him.
I'll wear 'em.
He'll wear
You
'em.
like them?
I like them.
They're like loud as shiitake mushrooms.
Yeah. That way it's real clear, though. You don't miss... You always hear what people are saying, though.
Oh, yeah. I don't listen to half the stuff you guys say anyways.
Oh, these are loud.
I got to get
It needs
a...
to be turned down a little bit.
Is it that loud?
Not really that loud, no.
Am I deaf and I just have them up all the way?
Right there, that's good. Yeah,
There
I'm
we
good
go.
with
That's about 3/4 of the way up.
that. Standard issue. So,
So you gotta do 50 free.
you had to get
tattoos.
50 free tattoos, and I went in there, and he was like, hey, man, do you want a tattoo? And I was just stopping by. I had picked up a motorcycle from L.A., so I was driving back. And I was like, I don't know, man. He's like, it's free. I'm like, oh, well, give me like 5 minutes to figure something out. And so that's why I got the Stay Weird tattoo on the other side of my ankle. It's kind of hard to see. But so I got that tattoo, and I was like, you know what? That was pretty good. So next time I went up there, I'm like, hey, I'll take another one. Let's do like a pineapple. He's like, all right, man. And this was his first. I was his first paid customer. I thought it was going to be free. It was only like I think it was $100 or $70 or something.
Did you tip him real well, too?
Yeah, I gave him $100. I think I gave him. But man, did he have a heavy hand?
Yeah.
Oh boy,
Dug in. I don't have any tattoos.
that tattoo took forever. But he's got my $20 bill. But one of my 20s I gave him, I got to sign it. So now it's forever hung up in his little booth. So that's kind of cool.
It is cool.
So there's no reason that you chose the pineapple.
No, I kind of just thought it looked cool, to be honest. I was like, okay. And I thought it was going to be about this big. So about a quarter of what it is. And as he's tattooing it, I'm like, well, all right. There's nothing there, I guess. So that's why I got
How many
it.
tattoos do you have, Mike?
Maybe like 12. I have a whole sleeve. And then, I don't know, maybe like 12.
Do you count the sleeve as one?
I don't know. I've never thought about it. I'd probably count it as... So I'd probably count the main ones, like 1, 2...
There's a lot of pieces to that.
3... Man, I don't know. I'd probably just say a sleeve and then 1, 2, 3, 4.
How many do
5,
you
6,
have?
7.
3?
Yeah.
I think 3.
I mean, do you have the USMC tattoo? Like your...
Yeah,
Didn't you have a devil dog tattoo?
I
like
got
a...
Semper Fi on the back of my
Oh,
shoulders,
so you got...
and then I got my wife's name, and then I have one
That's
that
dangerous.
I dug out that I gave myself at a party in high school, and I dug it out with
Ooh.
a pocket knife the next day because it was all jacked
Oh,
up.
the party dot or whatever they call that shit?
Well, it was a cross.
Yeah.
But it was like one of those jail tattoo things. You know, one
Yeah.
of the guys was a jail dude.
Yeah.
So I was all drunk and I did this.
When you're like 15, you're like, fuck yeah, I'll get a tattoo.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Fuck
I thought
yeah.
it looked cool when you're drinking. You're like, oh, that's like a Spanish cross. That looks cool. But the next morning it was like all crooked. And so what's left of it is these 2 dots. So I dug the rest out with my pocket knife the next morning.
My sister has a party dot that she,
Yeah.
when she was in high school or middle school. I think it was high school. And even to today, when I see it, I'll poke and be like, party. Like, let's get the party going.
Tattoos back like the
You
barbed
fucking
wire
idiot.
tattoos, or like my sister
I'm
has
just playing,
a
Jordan.
Tinkerbell tattoo on her shoulder. She hates. She got it when she was like drunk when she was like 18. But I can't really like. I mean, I have a tattoo of myself getting a tattoo on my body. So
Yeah,
it's not,
everybody's got their thing. It's just, I give her shit about it because you're a kid and you did it. Even at the time, I'm like, dude, that's stupid. Like, that's going to be...
Yeah.
You
know, the good thing is it's just a dot. Some people get like, get the monster logo.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about doing my leg. So he has like a kind of a design that I want to do. I actually called him the other day and I'm like, hey, again, we were high, and I'm like, also, get these ideas. And I'm like, dude, I got an idea for a tattoo. It'd be cool. And I texted him and I'm like, hey, dude, I got an idea for a tattoo. And like 2 minutes later, not even, he calls me. And I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? He's like, I'm tattooing right now. I literally just stopped. What's your idea? I got a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome. So I kind of talked him through it. He kind of drew it up a little bit. He's like, all right, just want to make sure we have that. So now he's got it for the leg to do. So
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And where's he at?
he's up in Orange County.
Oh shit.
He's in San Clemente. Well, I guess it's Orange County. Right?
Yeah, that's the edge.
Yeah.
I think San Clemente's the farthest
He went home
south,
right
right?
now for
South OC.
to his mom's house for a little bit because everybody, it's dying down. Nobody wants tattoos right now.
Can't get tattoos.
Yeah. So he went home.
How many people do you think are out getting tattoos at their houses? You know, their buddies are hooking them up and stuff.
Dude, probably a lot, man. Remember, I remember my mom having tattoo parties. They'd go to, you'd have a little tattoo party at your house. Did anybody ever do that growing up where you're from?
No.
Never ever.
No.
Or a tattoo artist would come, but this is Midwest, shitty tattoo artists, you know.
I mean, I grew up in Tennessee though, up until high school. I moved to Indiana when I was in high school.
That never happened to you?
But I never saw tattoo parties.
Nah, there was no such thing as a tattoo party. There were dudes, like I said, the jail guys that, got out of jail and they had their jail.
Have you ever seen Stand By Me?
The movie?
Yeah.
I don't know why. No, I don't know why I said it like I knew it.
The movie? Where those kids go and find that dead body?
No.
Oh, dang. I wish you would have seen it. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's probably what it was like for you.
You're good. You're good.
Dude, slick back hair, they got the white t-shirt sleeves rolled up with the smokes in the pocket.
He's
It's a greaser.
No, not a greaser. What's the Outsiders?
Yeah, I think it.
Oh yeah, that was our movie.
Is
No,
it-
what were they called? They're the Socs and the
I thought it was the Greasers.
no isn't the Greasers
Or are they the
the
Outsiders?
Grease?
Yeah, the Outsiders were
The Outsiders.
the Greasers?
Greasers, or yeah, and then Socials were the guys with the Mustangs and shit.
Yeah, and then the kid dies in the end or whatever. It's a extreme ending.
Dude, I haven't read that book since
We
high
read it
school.
and then watched it in high school. I remember that.
yeah.
Man, I'm stuffy.
Hmm.
Coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
I'm a carrier.
Yeah, thanks for risking your lives to come out and be on the podcast, guys.
Here's the deal.
Actually,
And-
here in California, it's they've relaxed today. Started some of the relaxed standards. So
Here's the deal. One, not a single commercial I've seen with the heroes still working have anything to do with the plumber. I'm so butthurt. I'm like, I'm the one who's playing and you're in the worst part of it.
Dude,
Everything you
that's-
flushed down the drain. I mean, I could be giving it to both of you right now.
people are
You
shitting
know.
out coronavirus, and you are
You're passing it around,
Just
sitting there
flopping it.
wallowing in it like a pig,
Wallowing in it.
and you know what?
taking shit shots to
Nonsense,
the
man.
face.
I ain't gonna catch it, and
The-
if I do, you
Well,
know,
no.
the whole thing about I do this to escape reality. Fuck you, I am reality. Reality is my biatch.
I think.
So-
I think.
That's what the kids say now.
I think the people. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think everyone's gonna get it. I think it's one of those things where everyone's gonna get it. It's just
Sorry, I'm doing this.
when's
so
your
yeah,
time?
the whole thing was flatten the curve.
No, you're good.
Right? So we flattened the curve, and now it's
Pull the wire though,
something
so
else.
it's not so. It's see how on where it's connected to the bottom of the microphone, it's bent real hard.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't even have done that. Oh, how do we feel about that?
You're
Is
good.
that working for you?
Yeah, you're still plugged
All right,
in.
cool. I couldn't see you with the arm was in your face.
No, you're good. And if that wire gets in the way, hang it up on that little screw there.
Okay.
Cool. So
It's not
anyway,
my first time doing this.
I do agree with the whole flat. So my dad and my brother-in-law said that in January of this year, they had the exact same symptoms. They had a persistent cough that wouldn't go away. It was nasty, and they had it for a month and a half.
mm-hmm.
And they think that they're all the symptoms they had. Or they say the symptoms of they're like, I'm pretty sure we had it. And I've heard a couple people say that they're like, dude,
They think it came out to California way earlier than they realized. I think they think it actually got here in November or something like that.
I think the root of all this is you have to look at why are humans still eating bat soup? Why are people still eating that?
I think the bat soup thing's already been debunked.
Either way,
they keep
why
going back and forth. They keep going back and forth between it came from the lab or it came from a bat soup. I think. However, but
why
the
is that
thing,
even an argument?
the
Why
thing,
are
the thing that
eating
people keep saying though about the lab thing is they say it came from the lab, but they're not distinguishing the difference that it came from the lab, but it's not human made. It wasn't in the lab to be weaponized or something. It was in the lab to be studied.
That out it wasn't human made.
So when they're saying that it came from the lab, it sounds like, oh shit, they're making chemical weapons or something. No. They're studying it. However, their safety protocols fucking suck apparently, and it escaped. That's a theory. They don't really know yet. That's what they're working on.
Do you think
figuring
they'll
out.
ever know?
Yeah, I think so.
They won't tell us.
But who's
Well, I think they already know.
Yeah, they know, but they're not going to tell us. You know.
China's going to be hurting after this.
Do we have our guys over there looking into this as well, or is this straight? Just
No, they're not. I don't think they're letting Americans over there.
So this is just China. We're only getting facts just from Chinese people.
The World Health Organization,
Yeah,
which
useless.
is
so.
Is that a big?
Them and the UN, they're all a bunch of morons.
It's a crazy world we're living in.
Yeah, and the thing is, to me, a lot of this is like, so I got to wear a mask at work now, which sucks. But it's so instilled in my brain to just I got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Have you guys bought? So you get mask, like commercial mask at work, right? Your work supplies them.
I mean, for a bit there, no, because it was in the beginning when no one had it, and we're like the guys who were left out, like the plumbers, like no one.
Fuck the plumbers.
Not that, you know what I'm saying? But it was like the nurses and everybody got them obviously first.
Yeah.
So for a while there, we were like, you guys got to find your own mask, basically. And then we finally got some, but they're real shitty. Like, I wear a neck gaiter because it's the most comfortable. And
that's what realistic. I wear. Yeah. Do you wear a mask out?
I begrudge. Okay.
I mean, you have to.
I think this whole thing is a bunch of nonsense.
Here we go.
Totally retarded and stupid.
If you haven't heard Tracy Offutt before, go back to.
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents. I think the whole thing is a retard fest.
Nah, it's real, but I think at some point we got to be like, okay, now we're.
I think they overdid it. Like,
yeah,
the hospital ships didn't get used. The extra hospitals haven't gotten used. Now, did you see the triangle on?
Well, that's also a good thing, though. That may be because we did what we're supposed to do. However, what I get is the extension of like trying to keep people locked up. It's like okay,
so
dude.
What did the New York talk about today? 60% of the cases came from people that were quarantined.
What do you mean? Oh,
60%.
Yeah, how they're saying that it might be better to not be quarantined.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Did you see I don't know, it's a triangle, right? But it's upside down. So you take the people that are most at risk and you protect them. Nursing homes, invalid, things like that.
Yeah.
Right? And then that kind of trickles down to everybody else. But we did the opposite. We put them at the bottom, and we locked up everybody, shut down the schools. Kids aren't passing around.
Yeah, that
we
makes
did all the retarded stuff. And then the people that are the most in danger.
Susceptible.
Yeah. So they're the ones that are in the nursing homes and all bottled up. And then I was watching something else about the 1917. Back then, they didn't go build buildings. They just set up tents.
Yeah.
For the Spanish flu, right?
Well, I think that's what we did too, though. We didn't build anything.
They had the overflow. They set up tents. The tents had the sides rolled up because they didn't have air conditioning and all that nonsense back then. And people got over it quicker because they were exposed to the outside air. There's breeze, it carried it away the whole 9 yards.
I just think it's hard to judge anything from 1917 until where we're at now. Because we're just so much more modernized now.
Well,
but I'm not a doctor. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
I'm just not a doctor, so I just don't know. I mean, and I can't trust the media, so I'm just like,
yep.
All I know is that after being in the Marine Corps for so long, that even like telling us we have to wear masks and stuff, this stuff just doesn't even bother me. It doesn't even faze me because I'm just so used to being uncomfortable, Where it's like, you know how many times you got put on liberty restriction, or like somebody tells you what you can and can't do for so long.
Yeah.
You're told that. So now it's
You're
like
used
I was
to
out
this.
for 2 years and somebody's now telling me again, like, hey, you have to do this. I'm like, all right, it sucks, but you just got to do it.
Here's one of those things.
Yeah, that's what.
This
to
is
me,
my
that's
life
what it is.
now.
Like,
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good way of.
And I think that's why people in the military are dealing with this a lot better than people who, because most of these people have never been told what to do in their outside life and in their adult life. They have never been told in their adult life they can and can't do something. But now that's 95% of the population. Now the rest of us, we're like, oh, this is easy. I've been 20-something years old before and been told.
We're conditioned to Big Brother.
Yeah, I'm like, this is easy. Someone's just telling me what to do for a little bit. All right.
Hey, I know the range starts at 06, man, but we really got to have you at the armory at 0330 to get weapons so that we can be by it on the road to the range at 04 because we know something's going to happen and we're going to get stopped. So 05.
Well, don't you realize you have to take a nap between getting your weapon?
Oh, you always nap. You take naps throughout the day on the rifle range.
And that's why the early timeline is so you have time for your nap between getting your weapon and getting on the trucks.
I'm not saying that, and I still fought it big time. I'd walk into Ralph's without a mask. I think this is dumber than shit. I even when I went to the
feel
liquor
so
store
weird every time I go.
I totally forgot about even putting a mask on. I walked in the liquor store, and maybe 70% of the liquor store had them on. There was a bunch of people in there, and there was at least 4 people in the line I was in without masks. So I'm thinking that it's more people are just like.
Did you see people with masks with angry face? Because you can't tell because you can't see anybody's face. They're just like.
I see a lot of people with masks that are just so improperly worn that it blows my mind.
Yeah, that's what kills me.
Like I saw a 30-year-old something couple and their kid. Their kid was probably 5 years old in a shopping cart. The 2 of them had masks on and their kid didn't.
Oh, that's
blew
fucked
my
up.
fucking mind.
That's fucked up.
It's either if it's that much of a deal where you have to wear a mask, you shouldn't bring your kid in public.
Yeah.
Leave your kid at home. One of you guys go.
I haven't taken my kid to the store since he's been staying here.
2, if it's that big of a deal where you're wearing a mask, but you think it's not as big of a deal for your infant child to wear one, then why do you even have the mask on? It's the silliest shit that I've ever. It's like seeing people driving in their car with their mask on.
Yeah.
You're in your car by yourself, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's the mentality.
I pulled up to Starbucks today, and they require or they want you to have a mask on when you pull up to the window.
So
through the drive-thru.
The whole thing is nonsense. I'm in Albertsons.
They didn't say anything. I didn't realize till I got to the window.
Well,
they didn't say anything.
You know, it's dumb. So I go to Albertsons. I go to the grocery store now. But anyways, and there's a sign you got to have a mask. So I'm like, I'm not dealing with this nonsense. So I go in. I'm gonna get whatever I need to get, and the girl's like, "Hey, you got to have a mask." And I go to that same store regularly, so I kind of like the clerks and stuff. And I'm like, "All right, cool, no problem."
I miss Albertsons, man.
Well, I take my shirt off. I just got shorts, flip flops, and
you see that?
So I'm like, I'm gonna take my shirt off.
That has completely changed.
I'm sorry, Major.
And wear
What'd you
a
say?
mask, right? Because if you're gonna be stupid, let's have a stupid contest. I can be way stupider than you can.
Yeah.
So I put my shirt as a mask, and I go about my business. Next time I'm going in a thong.
Wait, but nobody said anything to you?
Did you really take your shirt off?
Yeah.
That sounds like a real story.
You're a rebel.
It's not that impressive anymore, so it's not like I'm in shape and shit. So nobody wants to see you. So it's not like like if you
first time
that man in here, he's a flasher. Oh my god, get that man.
Dude, that sounds way better. Your mic's turned so you're speaking into the part that says blue.
This part?
Yeah. That's way better.
Have I been talking into the wrong part this whole time?
Yeah. Oh. Dude, I tell you every time.
Since I moved it or since I...
You sound way better now.
Wait, time out. So why...
No. Don't turn
this mic is not a 360... Like, you can't talk in any part of this microphone?
If you select it to do that. There's 4 settings on it.
How the hell am I supposed to know that?
There's 4. I tell you every time.
You've never told me that there's 4 selections. But we've got it on camera. We've got audio recording.
But I tell you don't I tell them every time, talk into the blue. No, yours is good.
Tell me not to talk into the top.
To you, and my mic's over there.
We can hear you, though. If you want to pull yours and slide it down a little bit and turn it towards you,
I think
can.
You should do that.
Or you can put it in your lap. I don't care, man, if you want to hold on to it. My bad. I don't have another holder. Amazon hasn't delivered yet.
Well, no, I just don't want to be jacking up your stuff. And I'm definitely not going to do the whole...
You can move
it and let it fall like the last time we were together.
Dude, last time at my old place? Oh, my God.
Carry on. Why am I paying for Amazon still right now if I can't get my stuff in 2 days?
You know what Okay, go ahead.
I haven't heard anything about... I ordered speakers that were on Prime.
Yeah, but can't you understand, though?
I ordered speakers that were on Prime, and it took them 3 weeks to get here. And I can totally understand that. But why am I still paying $90 a year for a Prime membership? I think
it's over 100 now, isn't it?
Even more of a reason.
The Prime is for the free shipping.
You said later.
Not for the instant gratification shipping.
No, I think I think the opposite. I think the Prime is for getting it in 2 days.
Yeah,
that's why I have it.
No. It's free next day shipping.
Yeah,
that's why I have
it's free shipping, not always next day. Because I order a lot of shit on Prime and it doesn't come the next day.
You're ordering the wrong stuff, my guy. You got a bad Prime guy.
I know what you're talking about. I got
a good Prime guy.
That's when you're getting more random stuff,
right? But
you're probably buying like
if it's Amazon
dragon candle holder sculptures.
But if it says Amazon Prime on my buy, I'm in 2 days. I'm getting that. 3 days at the maximum, not 3 weeks.
Oh no, but they're using the whole. Oh, that's not essential stuff.
Right.
Okay, look.
That's not what my contract said when I got my Amazon Prime membership, though. I'm sure
they should give you a kickback.
I'm sure, and that's the only reason I say that is because insurance companies are giving you kickbacks. Like my gym right now, since I can't use it, is giving me kickback.
Are we still paying 10 cents a plastic bag at the store since you?
No, Lacey is on top of that. One time I hit it, and she goes, "No, we're not paying for that shit." if we can't bring ours in, we're not paying for theirs.
Well, they don't charge you right now.
Because right now you can't bring your own bags
Okay,
in.
that's what I was wondering if they. I haven't even looked,
So that was a fucking scam.
which
in
is
itself.
ridiculous. I know because do you bring reusable bags?
Well, I did up until you can't bring them now.
I always
right?
forget them.
Well, here's the thing. So the cost of the bags was originally figured into the cost of the products. They weren't giving you free bags.
Yeah.
That was part of the cost
Whoa,
of the
I
business.
never thought of
and they charge you a dime for this. Well, that dime included the bag money, right? So now when the kid's like, "Oh, we're just giving out free bags now," I'm like, "Bro, they're not free. They're not free. They were never free. They weren't free before, and they're not free
Dude,
now."
I swear on my life, I've been thinking about that for years and years and years. I'm like, man, do they like add the money into? And I'm talking specifically bags.
It's business cost.
This was
cost.
a bag talk. Because when they started charging me, I'm like, man, all these years they've just been giving them out for free. But really, no, these
No,
motherfuckers.
they never have.
No.
And so what? They
Literally,
do is
I'm just learning this right now.
They increase their profit.
This is happening
by-
live.
They're still selling you this beer for a dime, and they're charging you for the bag to put it in.
Don't you have to pay unless you bring the can back, or is that bottles?
It's cans and bottles.
Can you bring those back to the store and get the refund?
I
Is
don't
that
know
still
how
a
that
thing?
works. So it used to be with the Coke bottles. You take your Coke bottles back, and you get a refund on your Coke bottles.
I remember-
but that was during like the Great Depression.
I remember back in the day.
I got something
I remember
for you,
back in
man.
the day when you could collect soda cans and you take them to the aluminum place and they'd weigh them, and then
They still do.
Yeah,
That's
you
why
still
homeless
do
people
that.
catch
You
them.
still
Or
sell your-
catch them. That's why
here's
homeless people.
we would buy beer with our old beer cans.
That's
Yeah.
why homeless. The same thing with scrap metal. Like I do
Yeah.
with I do with copper.
Hmm.
Copper's like $1.43 a pound right now.
So I tell you this story, right? My oldest boy, he's moving. This is a couple years ago. He's got to move, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Hey, we'll come up there and help you. I'll bring both the." Oh, I can't. I can hardly make sense of myself now. Can you remove? Like you can edit this, right? So you can take out slurring and.
No,
Oh, okay.
I cut out like when I'm talking, I'll
Yeah.
cut your microphones off just because yours will have a little. Like I said before, yours will have a little bit of white noise because I
Right,
have it
so
amped
back
up.
on a fan or whatever.
So I will cut out that way. Like if he sets his Coke can down or his beer can down, and it makes a thump through his microphone, I
Right.
cut that out.
So,
Dude, I have to turn around and watch this again,
right.
and then cut it
then-
out and go back and forth. It takes hours. It's a day long process for sure.
It is. I know.
And like right now, I can hear that my voice is too loud and it's kind of blowing out, so I got to turn mine down a little bit.
Fight him. You let this man speak.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's right. So you're so sexy with those tattooed legs.
Stop it.
What did
That's
I say?
alfalfa.
I know I don't get it, the alfalfa thing, but you can tell me that. So anyway,
Let me say it later. This thing keeps going on.
let me tell you this story, and then I want to hear the alfalfa story.
All right.
So
Hmm.
I'm like, yeah, we'll help you move, right? Cool. So we go to his house. He's got a 4-bedroom house, motorcycles, tools, every cool single guy thing there is, right? And it's me,
Single guy.
Mom.
Only single
And
guys have
mom's-
those things.
got like, she can't use her hands, and my wife has some medical issues, so she's a good cleaner and stuff, but she can't like carry heavy boxes and stuff, right? So it's me, my younger boy, and I'm like, dude, do you have any friends coming over to help with? You got like 5 truckloads of tools and weights and cool shit, right? And he's like, nah, I didn't think I had that much junk. We made $400 just on the scrap metal because I threw all the scrap metal in the front of
Yeah.
the truck, and then other shit, so we could make like one big circle trip.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
it still? Is scrap metal still worth money?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Well, this
Dude,
was a couple
there's
years
lines
ago.
all the time
But
there.
as much as it used to be,
So scrap. It's specifically what you're looking for is like
obviously copper.
copper is big, and then I believe what do they use for X-rays that they lay over you?
Lead.
Lead, and I think lead is
You can.
pretty pricey.
Where do you get lead?
I mean, there's a lot of lead-filled piping that we use, like these old school piping. That's what they used to do when they'd put 2 cast iron joints together. They'd infuse it with like lead.
Here, Ash, in that.
That stuff smells.
But
so
I mean,
good.
there's like, that's one. I don't know.
It
What?
smells good.
That weed?
Yeah.
That is Sunday Driver.
So
I feel like I'm at a Sunday drive.
So, educate me here on the whole weed thing. Like, can you go to the store, like the liquor store, and be like, "Hey, I need that." And that.
Yeah, you
At
go.
the dispensary,
So
yes.
we go to SDRC, or I go to SDRC. Well, we go to this market now, actually.
Is
March
it
and
a,
Ash is
a
good, too.
store like the liquor store.
There's 2 different
No,
kinds.
yeah, so you go in and there's like literally a menu. So you go in, there's a security guy, he just looks at your ID card like if you were going into a bar.
Right.
And then you go and you get in line if there's a line. these are the legitimate ones. And then you go wait in line if there is a line, and then someone will call you up to the counter, and there's like a menu up on the wall, and you'd be like, "Oh, can I see a good indica?" And they'll bring out like 2 or 3.
Or
The thing about legal dispensaries is a lot of them don't have open air weed. Like you can't smell it. You can look at it through a plastic bag. You know what I'm saying?
See, but
So
that's
you can't tell it's
no,
not like buying tomatoes where you're like, oh, this is a good one.
you can
Exactly.
if you go to this place called March and Ash. So I feel like there's like 3 different kind of dispensaries. There's dispensaries like SDRC where you go in and you stand in line, you get called up to a register. There's like 15 registers there.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, what do you want? And they'll bring out anything you want. You can look at it, whatever.
It's like the Walmart of.
So March and Ash is more of like a store where you walk in, same deal. You show your ID, then they call you in, and you're in a room that's like, if there was no walls in this room, it's like this size, maybe another half of this size.
Don't they have like a waiting room and stuff that you have to sit in?
If there's more than 15 or however many people are allowed in that
Yeah.
room at a time. And then it's just like a store. You can walk up, pull stuff off of shelves. You can look at it. I mean, it's all sealed.
Right.
And then in the center, they have a huge U-shaped glass, real nice glass. And these dispensaries are really nice on the inside. They're not like run down. They're fancy.
Not like a head shop back in the day.
No way, man.
And
they're real nice.
You can like, hey, let me smell this flower, and they'll undo it for you. You can smell it. You can look at it. You can't touch it. But right now you can't smell them. You're not allowed to do much of that right now.
Right.
So that's another kind. You can actually like do shopping. Those are then you're not rushed because you're on your own
So
time.
what we've been doing, well, man, my
And
mic is super loud. What we've been doing is going to a farmer's market
Yeah.
kind of deal.
So the third one is like an underground kind of deal where it's a lot cheaper because there's still sellers, there's still illegal sellers, but now it's more marketized where you can, we go to these underground ones where they give an address and we show up there. And the one we went to, it was in a subdivision, like a real nice subdivision. Not nice. It was nice. And there was like a big birthday balloon out front. Made it look like there was a birthday party going around back. And you walk around back and there's like a security guard kind of guy there. He's just hanging out. I think it was $5 to get in.
Yeah.
And you turn the corner and it's a giant weed festival.
Yeah.
In a guy's backyard, but a pretty large backyard. So there's 10 different vendors there. They all got their own, their bags of 10-pound bags of weed sitting out, and you can touch them. These ones, obviously, they're illegal. So, I mean, there's no like censorship or whatever. So you can you grab the nug, you can literally smell it, and be like, oh, this is good, and they'll give you. It's probably half the price of the dispensary because there's no taxes from the government and all that stuff on it. There's no head cover.
I've read about the legalization has actually expanded the black market instead of.
It really did.
Yeah, because.
Because it's just so expensive.
Yeah, and it's 33 different steps to get your license to sell or whatever.
Right.
Like everything else.
And charge half as much and make twice as much
Yep.
money.
Yeah.
There's no overhead price.
Like
on that,
everything
that's why.
else, especially in California, business wise, it's there's so many regulations and hoops you have to jump through to get it, and it's down to the cities. So just because it's legal in the state doesn't mean, like Oceanside, there's no dispensaries.
Yeah.
There's no dispensaries in Carlsbad. It's all up there. I don't think there's any legal dispensaries in North County. I don't think there's any legal ones.
Really?
I don't think so.
I wonder if that's why there's so many by SDRC, those 3 on that road right there. I wonder if that's like a sanctioned area.
Well,
Is there 3 right there?
The SDRC, a half mile down the road, March and Ash, and then half a mile down the road is that third one I went to that was like terrible.
Huh.
Well,
Yeah, I
the
don't
reason
know.
I ask is my daughter, one of her boyfriends a while back, he was a distributor, and he had like people that drove vans and delivered it to your house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he was working on,
Delivery guy?
so he had like delivery people that worked for him, and he just
Oh, okay.
he's like,
Gotcha.
Hey, all right, you're taking 44 pounds. Okay, cool. You're taking this much, and then they went and did it all day, and he was working on getting
Distribution, yeah.
distribution in Oceanside. And
nuts.
mastering
Don't
Oceanside,
pass it.
Fallbrook. And he ran into a couple of snags. I don't remember what it was, but
Whichever beach town legalizes it first will make a ton of money.
I mean, PB has it.
Because tons of people are going to... Does PB?
Yeah, they have a
PB's a
Urban
party
Leaf.
town. Yeah.
Urban Leaf is it's PB.
So, yeah.
And then
That
they
makes
have
sense.
They have another one down
I guess
there as well.
Oceanside's not really a party town, though. It's more of a laid-back, like,
Yeah.
small town, beach town kind of deal.
Yeah, and it's
Oceanside has a weird connection. Like Carlsbad kind of has the La Jolla vibe, sort of. You know, Carlsbad-ish.
Here you go.
And then
it's just because there's all the military in Oceanside, I believe.
yeah, and it was always a working class enclave because the military only takes up like what 10% of Oceanside population.
I don't know.
I think it'd be more than that, isn't it?
Camp Pendleton has over 40,000 Marines on it,
Yeah, but there's
which is crazy,
1.5
right?
million people in the Tri-City
Yeah.
area.
Is there?
40,000 is, But then you have retirees,
I'm okay.
you have families, you have. So yes, it's not the biggest part of it. Now, at one time it probably was,
Oceanside is nice.
But it has.
I like
this
Oceanside,
kind of
yeah.
a strange, like it's a working class vibe, compared
For sure.
to Carlsbad.
100%, yeah.
And there's some. Oh, dude, I gotta tell you about this. So I helped my daughter's friend move some stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she lives in Carlsbad, so I'm like, oh, cool. We're gonna check out our little house. It's a little tiny house. They were called strawberry houses. So back in the 30s, the people that worked the strawberry fields used to live in these, row houses, and now there's a bunch of them that have been upgraded, but hers is original.
Yeah.
So it's like 1930s mold on the roof and shit. But it's cool as hell. But it's tiny, because back then people didn't have a lot. So it didn't have closets. You have an armoire, and inside that, it's a couple jackets.
So it's like a standalone studio apartment.
Right, but it's a 3-bedroom.
Oh,
with
shit.
a kitchen and a garage. But it's probably slightly larger than this apartment.
How do you
But
fit
it's a
3
3-bedroom
rooms in
house?
that?
This is
Yeah.
a 2-bedroom apartment, for those that I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a little, but they're called strawberry houses. So you know how you stole that, and I go and I do the deep dive on the internet. Oh,
Yeah.
the history of the strawberry houses.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like the Top Gun house in Oceanside.
They moved
That
it.
house, they moved it to refurbish it. They're bringing it back once that resort building is built,
Yeah.
and they're turning it into like an either I don't think last I heard they hadn't decided either an like old timey ice cream shop or candy shop
Ice cream.
as like an
sure.
attraction, and it, obviously you'll still have like some kind of homage to fucking Top
Yeah.
Gun. Kind of like the
That was only
Kansas
one-
City barbecue down here in San Diego,
I've
where they
eaten
did
there
the.
multiple times.
Have you? The
We-
original one burned down though.
A lot of the guys on the motorcycles that I ride with, we used to meet there.
Yeah.
We'd ride then go there afterwards.
I think they said the piano there is the original one though. I think the piano survived
They
the
have
fire.
like bras and everything on the fans. There's like 100 of them on. It's like it reminds me of a town or a bar back home.
I
like
ate
in
there
the
once,
Midwest.
yeah.
The
Oh,
food,
yeah.
honestly, the
It's
barbecue
okay.
isn't like great, but their sides, like their mac and cheese balls and their wings and stuff, are fire. Like
I
those
would-
are really good.
I would much rather go to that barbecue place in Oceanside. That,
man, that boy good.
That boy
Remember
good.
that?
Yeah, that's actually.
It's a-
That's a spot.
They split up, so now the new spot just isn't for me though.
Yeah.
Too far away, too out of the loop.
Well, the new spot's just up the hill.
Yeah, but it's in that parking lot. Like isn't that where Kale goes to Taekwondo? That same parking
Jiu-jitsu.
lot, right? Or Jiu-Jitsu?
No, it's not over there.
It's
What,
in that
that
same
boy
parking
good?
lot. Yeah, they moved it. You
Well,
went there with us.
there's a
Remember, they moved it
brewery
with
there.
the
Oh
brewery.
no! That's 10th Planet.
No, they moved it. They're connected with a brewery now, right?
Yeah.
So the brewery.
Yeah, that's
a couple
10th
Marines,
Planet
too.
Jiu-Jitsu is up there.
Oh,
That's
I
a
thought you meant
different
the brew-
jiu-jitsu
yeah.
place, yeah.
Anyway, wait, really? I
The
thought that's
brewery's
what
like
we've been
Lone
talking about.
Pine or something Pine. The brewery's not that great.
What kind of
Let's
pine?
be honest. The brewery, I didn't really like it that much.
I didn't try it.
It's okay. Like it's
Yeah,
got some okay beers,
Yeah, it's got some.
but it's
couple
not
Marines.
great.
They're like air winger dudes that were together.
Sorry for the people that are listening or watching if my audio keeps messing around. Like
Is it me?
No. For me personally, because my mic, I had it turned down because I thought I was blowing out the audio. I don't know if this microphone's messed up or maybe I'm just a little high and I keep messing with the audio. So
That's gotta
my
be it.
apologies.
You sound fine on this end. I sound different. I feel like
Do
I'm
I?
echoing real bad.
Yeah, I think
also
yourself
pretty
sounds weird. Yeah.
So the other day I was gonna ask you. I remembered to ask you this. Do you have like Marine stickers on your car, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you ever get like dudes who are like give you like the
Rob,
you know
brother.
they're a Marine and they're a Marine.
Sometimes, yeah.
So
But
the
the
other
bug gets. I mean, that thing. You get waves and smiles and.
yeah, that's true. I think it's kind of
Yeah.
like a
What's funny
Aesthetically
is the,
pleasing.
Oh, so I tell you, I'm driving into Fallbrook one time when I was doing the pool business, and I had a sticker, big old sticker on the back. I had a Ron Paul libertarian thing that I hand
Ron
painted,
Paul, huh?
and then I had "Stop Hillary, Save Freedom" thing across the back, right?
So
And
you're a liberal Democrat, obviously.
yeah. So I'm driving into Fallbrook, and this chick pulls up next to me, and she's like, "Fuck yo," and flipping, give me the double fingers and swerving all over.
it's a big steering wheel she had.
It's
Yeah,
like, who's
you know,
crazy,
in a
me or
boat.
you?
She was fat liberal chick with pink hair, the whole thing. That's what happens with them.
Obviously.
Well, the thing is there's crazy people on both sides, and both sides have people that do that shit, and then they look.
You let this man finish.
Finish your story.
No, you're absolutely right. So, what's your initial reaction when somebody does that? You want to tell them back, right?
Hey, go fuck yourself.
But
I giggle so hard when people do that to me.
Oh, so I learned at that moment.
Yeah,
because
that pisses them off more.
Hey, what's up? And then she got more angry.
Yep, that's what pisses them off
and
more.
I was like, this is awesome. So from that moment on,
that's when you're like, are you serious right now? Are you seriously this mad?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, what's happening? Like, if you know him.
Yeah,
hey, what's up, dude?
The reason I asked you is because the other day coming home from work, there was like an old, like the old school Windstar vans, like a standard issue van. There was a van.
That's full
yeah,
size
just
van,
like
right?
It was just a van driving down the road, but an older one. It was like a tan color, and it had a big Marine sticker on the back of it. And it said like retired Marine, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like I always like to see like who's in the driver's seat. And it was this old black dude, but he just looked like he had like some spunk to him. Like he had a Marine hat on, and
you have the tilt where it's like.
But no, he didn't look like stern, right? He just looked like he was like he's got a big Marine sticker on it, right? So I pull up next to him, and I'm in my truck and I have my work shirt on, and I just pull up my sleeve, and my dog tags are on the inside of my arm right there. And that dude, he was living. As soon as he saw me,
brother!
He was like, yeah, like he was just for the stars, dude. And I was like, that made my day.
Older dudes like that.
That
man.
made
Older
my
crowd
day.
Is way more.
I thought
more
that was real cool that we had a connection where it was like, I don't even know what your name is. I don't even know who you are.
But you get it.
But you get it, I get it, and we have the same thoughts, and we have the same memories, and we have the same, we know things that a lot of people don't know, and I don't even know who you are. And I thought that was so cool. I'm like, damn. Also, same thing. I was super tired. We had worked all day, and this thing that we use, that's a snake. It looks like a gun. It looks like a Tommy gun, and it has a drum on it, and it has a cable that comes out you can snake drains with.
Yeah.
But it's kind of shape of a gun. It has a trigger on it. And I was tired. I was sweaty, and I was walking back to the van, and I had that gun up on my arm like this, and I had my finger off the trigger, right, on the side of it.
Trigger discipline.
And I'm like, man, I kind of miss the. You're just tired. You're coming home. You got the gun. You're like
going to the armory.
You're just waiting to get back. You're just sleepy, and I kind of miss that feeling a little bit.
Yeah.
I miss having a day where you're just like, man, I'm being a Marine was cool and all, but I those two happened that same week. That old guy that I saw, and then that happened. I had that same kind of memory. And that day, I'm like, man,
is that?
I kind of miss that a little bit.
I think a lot of people come to that, man. It's a different life.
I mean, I'm glad. I'm 100% glad I got out, but I don't really have that hate towards it, especially how I got out, how that much sucked. I still don't even have. I have obviously my ups and downs with the Marine Corps. I'm sure everybody does, but I don't think a lot of people can admit that. They kind of miss it. Too many people are like, yeah, fuck the Marine Corps.
I think a lot of people say fuck the Marine Corps until they get out.
Well,
yeah, and then they become like you. They're like, man. They realize that people are fucking assholes.
Yeah.
That's 99.999% of everybody I've ever experienced. I have never met someone who didn't wish they hadn't stayed in at some bit, or didn't wish they had stayed in.
Yeah, even me getting out, I knew. I'm like, I know I'm gonna miss it.
Everybody you've met in the Marine Corps met a minimum standard in their life. You completed an educational requirement, which is in the Marine Corps was always getting a high school diploma. Do they let GEDs in? I don't think they ever let.
They do, but you have to be screened for. So one of my friends is a recruiter, and he was saying that you can let a certain amount in, but it's a very, very small amount, and then there has to be stipulations.
And nothing against people with GEDs or anything like that either. But you know what I'm saying? They screen so educationally you've at least passed high school, and then it's you go through this, 3 months in boot camp, and you get. Fucking haste. It's funny though, boot camp, they don't let you quit, even when you want to quit, you're like, fuck this.
Lacey and I had conversations about boot camp the other day, and I thought man,
she's got to come on and tell the female side of the boot camp.
Yeah, I can talk Lacey and I, because Lacey was in.
Yeah.
We were in the same unit in Japan, and we can share boot camp stories where it's cool. Not many people can with their wife share you guys both went through boot camp, and it's funny to hear their story. It's funny to hear our story. The difference between not only San Diego and Parris Island, the difference between female and male, and different, Parris Island and MCRD.
Oh, I was Parris Island.
So
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I can hear the parasite on the female side as well. When it's it's rare to even get the female
shrills.
side. I never had a female drill instructor, and then we didn't have any in the West Coast. Did you
we
guys?
didn't either. No.
He said, nah. Ofa May wasn't even in
He's
yet.
like, excuse me.
nonsense.
Excuse me. Me and Chesty were fucking pushing.
I'm not that much older than you guys.
The only time you
How
see
old
the
are
female
you?
drill instructors are
54?
Oh,
really
wow.
really good for
Wait.
54.
Let me do the math.
Wait, when were you born?
66, 76, 86, 96, 06, 16, 17, 18, 19,
Wait, I
20.
think my dad
Yeah,
was born
54.
in '68.
No,
My dad just
my parents were
retired
born
last year.
in the 50s.
Do I have young parents?
Late
I do have.
50s.
My mom had my sister when she was 17, 18. They got married. My dad was like the standard issue, like greaser,
Tracy.
right? Like not greaser, but like
Her name's
punk
Tracy
hard,
as well.
like-
So
yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
My dad was a very like hardcore, he fighting all the time growing up, and like big monster trucks and like all that craziness. And my mom was like total nice girl, like never. First time she ever smoked weed was my dad, I guess, in high school, and she cried after she did it. Like she's a good girl, but she's funny as shit. And my dad was like a traditional bad dude, so I'm pretty sure that's how that happened.
So
There you
where
go.
were you at in Japan?
I was in Okinawa on Hanson.
Oh, okay.
I remember we talked. I was
We
on
did
the
talk about
basketball
that.
court, right by the Chow Hall. Do you remember which one?
So,
you were on Hanson for a
real
little
quick,
bit, right?
real quick,
Yeah.
guys, because we're like an hour into this, and I never even said anything about it. You guys were both on here. Some people may have not seen the videos, and for those, your first one was episode 11. So if people want to hear your full story, episode 11, right?
Right.
And then we've come on together a few times. Episode 13 is your first one, but
Yeah.
that was with us. That was all three of us in my fucking apartment.
Was that my first one?
Yeah, you did a three-way.
Hey.
Way-o.
Hey-o.
You're weird like
Alright.
that.
Are you
so
sure I
go
don't
back to
sound-
those if
I
you
read
haven't
about
heard.
that in Penthouse Letters one time.
Yeah.
But,
But here we are now.
yeah, I was on Camp Hanson, but you were right there, right?
Yeah, I did
You were on
Hanson.
Schwab.
I did Hanson Schwab multiple times, but sometimes you end up Hanson, sometimes you end up Schwab.
I have
Man,
no idea.
how
I
was-
never made it to Japan.
How was it in? I mean, I know we talked about this before, but I want to touch on it again. How was it in the Marine Corps without a car, like a vehicle?
I've always been a car guy, so I always kind of had a car, or at least was in the I'd pick somebody else's car.
Were you not allowed to have one, or was it?
I just feel like
people
not
just
many
couldn't
people
afford
did.
one.
No, when I came in, you could have one. A lot of people didn't have them, but you had the 305, which was the bus there and would run through Camp Pendleton, take you to Oceanside, or I forget the number that took you to San Clemente. But somebody always had something. We had an Eldorado.
Look it
barracks
out.
car. Cadillac
I remember you telling me
Eldorado.
about that. Yeah. So
But
The
I always had a
barracks car.
I was
what
a
did
car
you
guy.
do? What did you?
That's cool, having a barracks car.
What did
That's
you guys
sick.
do with? Okay, this is gonna sound real dumb, but like, what did you guys do without like phones and TVs and like in your barracks room? What did you do?
You worked out. You freaking. There was magazines.
The new Playboy came
The other
out.
day I was reading a magazine and I seriously touched it and I was like, I'm an idiot. I can't. Like this
You
thing.
tried
Is,
this.
I swear. I almost was like, man, because I wanted to see something in the picture and I was like,
go like this.
fuck, I can't touch that thing. I'm
Yeah.
like trying to
That's
make
funny.
it.
Remember like reading catalogs on the toilet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
But yeah, you played cards. Like.
I'm sure you
board
guys
games,
talked
man.
more.
You played cards. You talked. Yeah.
Played craps out on the fucking catwalk. Make that money, bruh.
And drink and drink and drink. And then the E clubs were hopping, so there was always an E club, and beer was like 75 cents or whatever.
Because I've never been an adult without a phone. I mean, in the Marine Corps I have, like on the boat and stuff, but I've never been an adult like out just without a cell phone.
Me neither.
I've been a kid without one, but I've never,
I think you know a lot more about people back then than you do now, because everybody's
I
got their
agree with
face
that.
buried in their phone. Now,
yeah.
I'm not against technology at all. I was telling you about the strawberry houses. Never heard of them, and within 2 days I had studied the entire history of them.
Yeah.
So, every piece of human knowledge ever recorded is in here. Now half of it's lies because Google's communist, but it's in there.
He's a conspiracy theorist kind of guy.
Yeah. That is true. Like I mean, I have the entire. I could look up any fact, anything I know, I can find in the palm, literally in the palm of my hand.
That's what's frustrating is people. It's like, dude, you're spouting off lies, like not even good
Don't
lies.
talk
People
about
that
it, dude.
have you guys seen this like on Facebook? Everyone is posting this like pandemic.
I haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it either.
I saw the title. I didn't
People are hitting, like, tons of people I know.
Now people are saying it got taken off, I believe.
It's been taken down multiple times, apparently.
But what is it?
Dude, it's supposed to be someone that worked with Dr. Fauci saying how this is like a for-profit thing, blah, blah, blah.
Williams keeps putting that up.
But I also heard someone else tell me that was saying that the chick got arrested for stealing stuff from her fucking another laboratory that she worked for, and that she also had an article published about some kind of vaccine or disease or something that ended up, they found out that she like tainted the results. Like she tampered with it.
I don't even know what you're talking about. The results of what?
The thing is that
her testing.
The bigger the
her
lie,
testing.
Conspiracy theory. The bigger the lie, the easier it is to sell. You know, Goebbels did that in Germany. They sent out the brown shirts to cause all kinds of trouble, and then said, "Oh, hey, you know what? In order to calm down all the violence in the streets, we're gonna do this." And everybody's like, "Yeah, do that. Make peace for us." So I don't buy it all, but there is some truth to every story.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? So there's probably something in there.
There's been a lot of deaths, but I think that's because we've done the right thing. So you can say that this has been a great military exercise. This has definitely tested out capabilities that we have only talked about, theoretically. We've never actually done. So now there's going to be a lot of SOPs and TTPs that are changed because of this.
Right.
So So that's one good thing about it, is that our military and like medical workforce and stuff, for like a really bad one, they've been tested now. So two, I think it brings to light a lot of stuff with China, how much shit that we rely on that comes from China. You know?
Yeah, that's the upside.
So that's going to be good. That's going to bring back business to America.
I think I'll be able to tell what's good and what's bad from it once all the businesses are open, and then a couple months after, to see, because I think that even once businesses open, people aren't going to jump back into it. I think the people who think this is a real deal, I think the people who think this is a real deal is kind of going to be like, hang on, just because the government said we're back in it doesn't mean it's all gone away.
Some businesses will open and some won't.
No, I think that they will, but I'm saying the customers, like the consumers, I think there's going to be a mass majority of people who are like, maybe I'm not ready to go out yet. There could still be out.
There are going to be people like that.
I don't think a majority. You don't
think so?
No, I think there'll be like you said today, you went to the liquor store and 30% of the people weren't wearing masks.
Yeah.
It'll probably flip. Like there's going to be that 30% that continues to do it, like just in case kind of deal. Just like if you go to Asia, you see people wearing masks walking around just on the regular.
If that happens, right, so everything goes back to normal, I'm more happy than sad this happened. Even on like a family level, I feel like a lot of people got to realize that there's a lot of shit out. There's more that you need to realize that's important in life than your job. I mean, obviously people need money and all that shit, right? But this is a big heads up for people who don't have a couple $100s in their savings, a couple thousand. You should have at least 3 months of savings in your savings in case anything like this should happen.
Oh yeah.
People who don't, but that's I think this has opened up a lot of eyes to people. Like, fuck, I have no money. This is exactly why I have a savings account. This is exactly why I have enough money to survive if I have to, if something like this happened, because then I don't have to be on my toes. And I can get it. Some people can't do that, but
you know what's a really good thing too for people that like, really have to save money. Like they can't really save money. They don't have enough money to save. Is I have an app also that I use that rounds up everything I spend. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Every time I spend something, it rounds up. Yeah.
But and I get it. Some people can't.
So it's like every time I spend 75 cents, and then it throws that into a money market, or not a money market account, into a market account. So it's following the. So really, right now is a really good time to get into it because it's really low.
Yeah, I just got Robinhood, so I've been doing a little stocking. So
yeah, Robinhood's for trading. That's like a good entry level. Like,
but everybody can save money.
Right, and that's why I'm not saying
there's very few people that don't have.
But what I don't understand is
situations change for a lot of people right now.
Why would people? I just don't get why people would live in California that can't make it out here, but just continue to live here. When if they were to move to the Midwest or something, they could make it and be successful. They could have. Things.
I'm of the same. I think the same thing, but I also think that we are different thought. We have all moved around so many times and done so many things. It's easier for us to justify moving to another place. I'm 100% in agreement with you though. I think if I can't afford to live somewhere, people are like, they can't afford to live here anymore. They're going to be homeless. It's like, well, okay, if I'm getting to the point where I might become homeless, I'm going to make decisions where I'm going to move somewhere cheaper. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like
right.
that's common sense.
Right, but it's
But I also think that we can make that decision easier because we're used to moving and separation from people that we know.
Yeah, but in the end, that should be in your DNA. That should be in your blood. Like you either fight or fly, right? You either stay and try to tough it out, or go somewhere else where you are. It just makes sense to me. I don't know how that doesn't.
You don't
make
hear a
sense
lot
to
about
me.
homeless people that are homeless in their hometown, right?
No, because they're family, friends, and everything in there. I feel
Exactly.
like.
yeah, but the homeless problem, the majority of them are not people that came upon hard times and ended up homeless.
They're crazy and drug users.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of them
agree with
are.
that.
The majority. Now there are
That's-
some.
Do you follow that Instagram page at People of Los Angeles or whatever
Yeah,
it is?
I
Street
just
People
did.
of LA or
what is it?
it's
People
either
of Los Angeles
Street
or something
People
like that.
of Los Angeles or Street People of LA.
Did you follow Savage Pupper Lover? Did you see the whole thing he put on the other day of?
Yeah, I follow him.
Did you his story he put on about the, like the guy with the
He lives
machete
down-
outside of his house?
That's
or,
he lives downtown by.
He lives off Imperial Avenue, down that nasty where it goes right into downtown on the back side of it. It's
Isn't
like
it?
the
Doesn't he live
fucked
down
up
by
street.
Petco Park?
Yep, it's right on the back side of it.
Yeah.
And that's the terrible street. Any apartment complexes and shit there are just covered. I feel so bad for
Right
anything
next
that wants
to
to open
Petco
there.
Park. I thought it's always nice
It's
right
on
there.
the back side of it. It's nice in front of it, but on the back side of like the back roads to it, dude, it's terrible.
Because I was looking at apartments down there. I'm like, man, that'd be cool.
And
Live
that's
right
what
next to
he
the
did.
ballpark. I like going to baseball games though.
Well, but yeah. So what's the deal down there? Is it like a homeless camp?
It's
Dude,
So right now
San
up in
Diego.
LA, I believe that they're doing that. Homeless people are allowed to stay put. Usually they have to move their tents or they can't just post up on a sidewalk and stay there forever. Right
Yeah.
now that ban is lifted because of the whole Corona thing. They want everybody just to stay put. So the sidewalks
I think they've made places
are
like
so
San Diego
fucked
has.
up. The sidewalks are like, I think it was on the Street People of LA. It was on something that I follow, and there was a guy driving on a car videotaping it, and there was like beds stacked up, like trash stacked up. I couldn't even believe that's America. It looked like we were driving through Africa.
Yeah.
Dude,
like
if you,
Djibouti.
yeah, have you ever been to what's that area called? Where all the homeless people are in LA.
I've never been down.
Grid. No,
Oh, come on, Skid Row.
Skid Row.
Skid
Yeah.
Row. Have you ever been through there?
No,
Oh my god, dude. I purposely was like, all right, I'm checking out Skid Row, dude. I like stopped. I was in LA for something else. I Googled it. I'm like, okay, it's this whole like couple blocks. Like there's a whole sector,
Yeah.
rather than it's like city blocks.
is it called? Why is it
It's
called
all-
Skid Row?
That's where all the homeless people live.
That's where you.
And I drove through, dude. It's like when you drive through, it's just all pure urine smell as you drive through.
Is there houses there?
And there's people that live in apartments and stuff around. People live there and walk through by these people every day.
So, is it San Francisco that's giving out drugs and
Yeah,
alcohol?
I just
Did you
saw
see
that. And I was like,
I got a weed
that's
addiction.
got to be fake news. And I looked it up, and it's coming from like the public health and safety.
But it's I think it's coming from private donors though. It's not coming
That's
from
what they're
taxpayers. That's what they're saying. I think
And
it's
they still gotta
stupid.
pay city employees
So
for
they're
the
telling me
cigarette.
that
Exactly.
so private people are paying them. Who are these private companies?
I don't know, man. Donate to me, brother.
That's
Like,
what I'm
what
saying.
the
Like,
fuck?
I'm
isn't that a
King
magnet?
Louis. If you want to donate some King Louis.
Dude, wait.
What's
what?
that? White Buffalo.
White Buffalo.
So
White
how do you
Buffalo.
know this stuff? How do you
THC
know what is a
design.
good brand? Like, I like Corona.
So
Well,
it's like-
it's not
it's
a
like
brand.
alcohol.
It's a strain.
It's like imagine your favorite beer or your favorite.
The thing
drink.
is, though, is brands. There can be multiple brands that make the same
Right.
strain.
Oh,
Some
so
of
it's-
them, I keep putting.
when
my
I
hands
say
on the
brand, I
cans, yeah.
mean strain. Like, oh, this is
So sativa indica
African
hybrid.
red or whatever.
You
And
have
then-
to. You just kind of have to figure out what you like.
So if you want to, a sativa high gives you more of like you're upbeat, so you can kind of do things with it. You're
It's more
in your
of a
head a
heady
lot.
high, right? Yeah.
You're in your head and you're kind of like. So when I'm high on sativa, I think it's almost like I'm controlling
It's like
my
a
body in my
creative-
head. It's a very very
I'm
uplifting,
thinking.
like creative.
I think a lot.
Thinking a lot. Indica is like a couch lock. Indica is like what you think of. Like you are just not moving. You're dead. You're on the
So-
couch.
And some people.
A hybrid's kind of a mix. But even with a sativa, if you get too high, if you get really high, you're still on the couch, but you're very in your head on the couch. And that's what I enjoy. Like
Yeah.
at night, when I smoke, I sleep better than I can sleep on anything.
on
So-
sativa.
On just smoking weed.
Oh, indica's what you're
eating
supposed to
it
take
or
before
whatever.
bed.
Right. So I'll get
Take
super baked
before
at night,
bed.
but
So
that-
before bed.
that's like so you got
Like it's
first you got to
medicine.
find out what kind of high you want. And honestly, to start with, I would do an indica, not a sativa, but you can kind of do because a sativa can be a little much if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
You know, if you just go straight, if you're a first time smoker, you smoke a bong of sativa, you're probably gonna psych yourself out. You're gonna do what you see the bad things about it.
One of
Really?
the bad
You think
things,
so?
like,
What do you
So
mean?
Matt, like
somebody's coming after
paranoia.
me and-
So like if you
I
smoke,
thought you smoke weed.
if you
or you
when I
used
was
to
just
back
a
in the day.
kid, yeah.
Oh, when you were a kid.
so now it's
and the weed now is,
Right.
You've seen it's like 40
it's like
times stronger.
it's like
100
moonshine back then versus alcohol.
Would you
now.
say the
Same
percentage
deal.
of THC was in the weed that you bought?
39%?
We were talking about this
So
earlier.
it's like
39%.
It's the
So
strongest
back
you
in
can
the
get
day
at the
was
whole
probably
place.
what?
I question that though.
12,
I'd like to see the
10?
lab
Yeah,
results.
back in the 70s.
Eight? I don't know.
80s.
I
When
don't
I was
know.
smoking it in the 70s and 80s, it was.
It's
Well, it
probably
was
the
one
same.
thing. It was whatever you got in the bag. You just
and you could smoke, a
That's how
nickel
it is
bag,
back home
Yeah.
though.
Still operate.
right.
You'd
Dude,
be
we are
giggly and
so
all that.
spoiled. People that are not in California are like these motherfuckers.
Right. So and the thing
Because
is,
back
you
home,
can-
that's
you
how it
can
is,
go-
out of the bag.
Yeah, you can go to a dispensary and I can say, they'll first ask you, what are you looking for? Now, the thing what are you looking for? Oils, live resins, hash, flour.
I got a chocolate bar in there if you want to give it a go.
So much stuff. So it's cool.
No,
it's
no.
it's actually a really cool. Lacey and I actually just got a pink lemonade drink.
Dude, those are
And it's
good.
got 100 milligrams of THC in it. You can dose it out. And so first you just start out with, what do you want? What are you looking for? What are you looking to improve? Like pain. I don't know how much I buy into that.
I don't.
But I mean, maybe it
don't,
does. Some
no.
people swear by it, and some people don't.
My
So
back, it does not help my back at all.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of gets you to forget about it.
It helps me think about other shit. Yeah.
But some
the
people,
pain's still there.
like swear by CBD. I don't think CBD. It doesn't do much for me, but some people say it does. So you're kind of like looking for what you want, and then imagine like buying a Bud Light or a Bud Light, like the Bud Light Platinum or a
We're buying a bottle.
Coors or a Coors Banquet. Like a brand can have multiple brands underneath it, and then you kind of can find what you like.
Strains, yeah.
A lot of strains are different flavors. You can kind of has like a grassy,
good.
earthy. Now, do you want it indoor grown, outdoor grown? Outdoor grown's usually cheaper because they can do more of it and it's less expensive, but it's not as good as indoor grown.
It's stemmy more, and you can
And
find
what-
seeds
I
occasionally.
guess so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Seems
good.
like
It's
I
cool.
like
It'd be
outdoor.
more organic.
I like outdoor though.
It's almost cool. You can kind of go into a dispensary and it's a fun experience,
Dude,
Like,
so SDRC just blows my mind because you can walk in and you can literally buy plants off the shelf. They have them in this
Already
big.
made.
It looks like this big
Ferris wheel.
with all these like 4-inch tall, 5-inch tall plants that are rotating around this light in the center.
So you get the plant, right?
You
I,
stick it
I
in the
just started
ground.
growing
And
actually.
then what do you do with the plant?
You stick it in the ground.
Yeah, so,
You
After
let
it's
the
grown
sun
and
come
I'm
down.
ready to harvest.
okay, so now what it is.
There's a process.
Each
It's a
plant
process.
deserves 5 gallons of a 5-gallon bucket full of soil, which I can't remember what the square footage of it is. That's what technically each plant needs, that much soil to produce its best possible plant.
Okay.
So then you germinate your seeds first. You put it like in a plastic baggie or whatever you have, and you put the seed and you dampen a paper cloth and fold
Yeah.
it into
Paper
a
towel.
Like
Yeah.
growing
paper
tomatoes or
towel.
whatever.
Yep. You let it germinate for, I think it did like 6 days. You stick it in the soil. I used like this top of the line soil I bought. It was still only like, I don't know, $20 for a real big bag. And so far it's still pretty cheap. And then you plant it in the soil and you're supposed to watch it. And the pH level for water is supposed to be between 6 and 6.5. My Brita filter puts out about 7.5. So I use this thing called pH down, and I'll pH down it
you test it with
by the color, yeah, and you
with
can.
the pool kit.
So then I save that in like a gallon or 2-gallon jug, and I poked holes in the top of the cap. So I'll go out there every day and I'll just water them because it kind of showers it on them. And then it's cool. You just watch them grow, and then you wait. Man, I want to think.
His
I want to say
biggest
you wait.
his biggest issue is that he lives inland,
Yeah.
so he's
it's
got to
hot.
deal with the heat.
But these plants are supposed to get, the heat is an issue, but the plants are supposed to get like as much sun as humanly possible, because you can buy like autoflower seeds, regular seeds, feminized seeds. So now after like 4 to 6 weeks, your plant will either turn into a male or a female. I believe it's 4 to 6 weeks.
We're
And
not experts.
you can tell by these two like little like balls basically that it grows. And once it starts to grow these balls, if it has them, it's a male, and you need to destroy it. You need to get rid of it, because that male will feminize, or what do they call it?
Impregnate?
No,
Well,
what's
that's
the
how you end up-
hermaphrodite, whatever. It'll make the female plant a male plant, and you don't want male
It
plants. You want female
pollinates them.
plants.
It pollinates them, and that's how you end up getting seeds in your weed. If your weed has seeds in it, that means it's
I
been
don't think that
pollinated.
the female plant. I don't think the male plant even produces nugs. I don't think that it produces the flower.
So the
No,
nut
the
is
male
the
plant is
little thing
that's
that,
where you
like,
get hemp from. That's the male plant. is
okay,
hemp.
yeah. So You only want
There's no
female. So
THC
now,
in it.
once the female plant comes, you just let it grow, and then you have to trim it. So once it starts growing a certain amount of branches, again, I have to watch this video again. We watched it.
Yeah.
You want to trim every other branch on it, because then every other branch now gets another 2 branches that grow out of it.
Right.
But if you were to trim every one, I think it dies. You can do every other one, and now you're basically just trying to produce as much as possible.
You can't cut every. Yeah. You
Now,
can't.
as it grows, you want to strap down some of the plants, so then some of the plants get a lot of sun, and then you switch it. You can just kind of tie them with a little loose string just to ease them off, so the other plants get sun.
Other leaves, or you could rotate the
Right.
bucket.
And I think it's by around this August, July, that I should be able to harvest. I think that's what the time
So
frame
that's
was.
what I'm interested in, the harvest part. So now I take the plant.
So now you harvest it, and you got to trim it. You trim it along its way too. You're trimming extra leaves off of it, and the nug itself. I believe I have to watch more videos on it again, but at one point it's ready to be cut and harvested. At one point now you're cutting the actual nugs off it, trimming all the nugs, and you're hanging it upside down, and you're letting it dry out for however many weeks it is. Once it's all dry, then you can pick the nugs off the big stems, and then I think that's when you trim the nug, and now you finally have your product.
So the nug is a bud.
Yeah.
So when you used to buy, hey,
Yeah.
I need a bud, it was that piece of the plant.
And
then
that
dime bag,
right?
Push it up and put it in paper.
And that's what. So my plants that I have right now should produce anywhere from 200 to 400 grams of. It should yield 200 to 400 grams. So I should have 200 to 400 grams of marijuana that I can smoke.
And we were talking about earlier, even if it turns out to be shitty weed, it doesn't turn out great because of the heat or whatever, your first time growing, something could go wrong.
Yeah, right.
It's still gonna be good weed. It's like brewing your own beer. You're still gonna drink it.
Yeah, and
right.
You're
200
gonna
to
be
400 grams. That's a good amount. That's
it's not the best beer I've ever had, but I'm still gonna drink it because I made it.
Yeah, and there's a whole. It's organic, bro.
And I planted four seeds, and I think probably they say you should expect your first couple times to grow about 60 to 80% of your plants you're gonna get rid of, because you're just either from all sorts of different user error, the seed, the soil. So even if I plant 4 seeds and only one makes it, and I'm still yielding, let's just say minimum 250 grams of free marijuana, free weed,
marijuana,
and it only costed me some soil and I think I already had the pot.
So yeah, that was my next question: is what's the cost to benefit ratio?
It's a weed. It's literally a weed, so it grows pretty well on its own.
So if I was to go to a dispensary, let's say a dispensary of the weed I like is for 3.5 grams, which is an eighth, let's say it's $60, or even say $40. So I don't.
That's California legal dispensary prices, which is outrageous.
And honestly, it's more like $60 to be real, normal good weed. So let's say $60 per eighth. How many times does 3.5 go into say 250?
Lots.
I don't know.
Who's got a calculator?
At the market, you can get an ounce for $200 of really good weed.
Okay, so
which would cost probably closer to $300 at the dispensary.
So, and that's for your dirt, your pots, your plant, your time.
And he's
water.
talking about getting 7 ounces, basically 7 ounces, so $1,400 if you grow really good.
Yeah. So if it was $60 for 3.5, so what was that 250 grams divided by, what am I doing here? 3.5.
Yeah, but you can't go
71.
by the price of an eighth.
I'm just trying to get a real rough estimate. I don't know, because if you were
over
to buy
$1,000 though, for a plant, over $1,000.
I'd say I could yield over $1,000.
If it turns out to be a decent grow, it doesn't have to be great or exceptional. Right. Still over $1,000 worth of weed, probably.
And I only put in $40,
maybe not commercially.
Let's just
over $1,000 commercially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you were just go buy a pound, that's going to cost $1,000, and you're going to get a pound out of one plant, out of one of the plants he's growing.
Okay, so that was it. Yeah. So the water, the time, you got to pay yourself time, unless it's a hobby. I do this for my own pleasure.
Right now, it's kind of a hobby.
Yeah. So that.
And I mean, count. How much time really?
But the water.
The only thing that I'd say.
Your pH stuff.
The most, and even the pH stuff is me kind of stretching. I don't have to do it, but I might as well. The pH
what do you think? Less than $200 in materials?
Not even close. I mean, the seeds for me specifically for this grow, the seeds were free. Keith gave them to me. He's like, here, I got a bunch of extra. The soil was $30, $40 for the soil, and $10 for the 2 pots that I bought. So you're talking $50. And water costs probably. Man, I don't know, maybe $8-10 because I'm not.
I never even look at the water cost. We always share Well, no, I guess my other apartment I paid that. Out here we share.
And
though.
I pay a base price of $40
kinda
a month
bullshit.
for water, so I'm not even going to add water into it. For $40, and I could yield
So
200 grams.
You don't have a water bill like by usage?
It's built
Yeah,
into my
but you
rent.
got to think about the water usage over the lifetime. Let's say you put 5 gallons on it twice a day.
It's nothing close to that, though. I mean, I'm talking. I have a 1-gallon jug of water, and between 4 plants, every 4 days I go through it. Right now.
Really?
They're not taking up that much water right now.
Oh,
It
because
is
they're
really
super
hot,
tiny.
but
Yeah, and
tiny.
they're super tiny.
Yeah. So even if I pay a. I live in it was one big ass house, and they split it into 3. Like the basement is a little bachelor pad in the corner, kind of. Mine's 1,000 square foot. So I just pay a base price of $40 because they don't have it sub-metered for the units yet.
Okay.
They have the gas sub-metered, but
really?
the unit itself, I'm sure they do, but
No,
the
that
way
was one
the-
house with a.
So I live in where the garage used to be. That's why the big driveway is right in front of me.
Oh.
So it's
Can't even
1,000
tell.
square foot, 1,000 square foot, and then 600 square foot is a little.
I bet
basement
all
thing.
these neighborhoods look so much different 20 years ago.
100%.
Because
dude.
now every house is turned into apartments.
But my neighborhood is like Rolando
Every house is
Village
turned
is
into
like I feel like the last kind of if you drive through Rolando Village, it reminds me as if you're back home because it's not cookie cutter houses in all of them.
Yeah.
The houses are all still have their own kind of different cool feng shui. They're not like driving down in a subdivision out here where it's just every house is a mansion, smashed to each
Yeah,
other.
they've repeated the pattern like
Yeah.
1, 2,
It
3,
flip-flops.
1,
Yeah,
2, 3,
yeah,
1.
exactly.
Now the door's on the left, but it's on the right.
Exactly.
It all looks different. It's the exact same thing. It's just back.
I tell you what, though, we go in some mansions. I'm
Yeah.
talking. We were in a $11 million mansion the other day. The dude had Arabian
yeah, but what's
horses.
what's 11? Okay. I was
Dude
saying,
had
what's $11 million?
$11 million
California?
gets you a kitchen for your butler that is inside your kitchen. Your kitchen gets a kitchen for the no shit.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, even in California. I mean,
Imagine having a butler, dude.
I mean, so you'd be amazed.
It'd be like
at
the
what-
military, but good food.
It'd be
like in
having
PB?
house recruits.
Yeah, like in PB, $1 million house. You're not. I mean, it's a nice house, but it's nothing.
It's like a $200,000 house back home.
It's made $250,000 back home.
Yeah.
But if you're in if we got the Scripps Ranch and stuff anywhere east, and you're talking $1 million, it's a pretty nice house.
Dude, have you been out to Rancho Santa Fe? The little village out there?
Yep. Yeah, we work.
There's
out there
some
a
really
lot.
good restaurants out there. The houses are crazy nice.
Some of the we went to a La Jolla house that was their pool house for their pool was the size of my house. Easy. They had in their laundry room they had 2 stacks of 2 each, so 4 washer and dryers, but commercial made 2020 Samsung beautiful washer and dryers.
What do you think they do? All these people.
So the one lady we were in her house, it's just the lady. We worked with her assistant. She had a giant golden piano as you walked in. She had puffer fish and stuff in this big. She had a jacuzzi that overlooked La Jolla Cove.
Yeah.
I mean that was I'd say that was the nicest house I've been in my life.
Do you know what she does?
Man, I don't know. We worked with her assistant, and she came back, and she was this older lady,
I was gonna
super
say,
cool,
was she
kind of
hot,
dressed
but
up
no.
a little bit, but
She's an old
whatever
lady,
she
huh?
did, she did. And the thing is, a lot of the guys' houses we go to, you can tell trust fund baby, 100%,
Are they
100%.
douchebags?
Man, sometimes they're pretty
Dude,
pretentious.
I was talking to this chick who has a kid, and the kid's dad, she said that all he does is play frisbee golf because he's a trust fund kid. He literally, all he does is travel around and do frisbee golf tournaments and play frisbee golf because he's just a rich kid living off a trust fund. And I'm like, what?
Yep.
So you can't do that to your kids. You're stealing their manhood.
Yeah,
You know?
I've thought
Well,
about it.
yeah, it's okay to give them a trust fund, but I think you have to make them earn it,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, no,
kind of deal.
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, some of these houses we go into, you could totally tell these kids have not a single idea how good they have it. They have no clue.
It's a different world living something like that.
It is a
Yeah.
total. The lady we went to her house, she had She had 2 kids. She had 2 maids, a maid for each kid.
Yeah.
Not a maid, a nanny or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's just my opinion, but that's bad. You're stealing their. People need.
You're
something
stealing
to
their
do.
childhood.
And yeah, you're stealing. Like for the boys, my kids asked me before, oh, why do you take care of, my daughter? Why do you when she gets behind, or you help her with money or whatever? She's a girl. And you're like, well, can you help us? No, you're boys. You are men. You must make your own way in life, because one day you're going to be responsible for someone else.
But you don't think she will though?
No,
he's older school. You got to think he's older.
I think it's important. I think it's important to also teach a female like that too, though, because they're going to be the ones that actually produce a child, so they'll be in like.
Oh no, yeah,
the
there's
most
part of that,
need
but
of-
she does her own brakes.
Nice.
She put the alternator on her car herself.
Independent woman.
Shit, I can't
So she can do. That's the problem with finding her a husband.
Alternator is literally like 3 bolts and like 2 wires.
Yeah, but pulling off the serpentine is such a pain in the dick. Anything with that serpentine belt, I'm not touching it.
No, really.
It's
such
not that
a pain
hard,
in the
actually.
ass.
All you do is put a 1/2-inch socket in, or a ratchet into it, and
I actually like that.
You can do the because my pulley lever on my AC it's going better on the bearing.
it doesn't have the.
It does. You can put a socket on it, and when you crank it, it relieves the pressure.
Yeah,
off
on the tensioner.
But right, but man, there's been 3 times where I've worked on it that something went wrong with the tensioner. I've only done it 3 times. All 3 times in 3 different cars, something's fucked up happened. I'm like, I'm done with that.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, these are older. Like my '84. My first car was a 1984 Oldsmobile.
Fuck yeah.
30,000 miles on it.
Fuck yeah.
Mint condition. My great grandma gave it to me.
Oh really?
30,000 miles.
Fuck you.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Mine was a
No, I blew the
'93
motor on
Toyota
it.
Tercel, I
How'd you
think.
do that?
Because I was a dumbass 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, okay.
And then the mechanic, my dad, it was like $1,500 for new brakes he put on it, and that's all it needed. It was 30,000 miles, and it was brand new, dude. She died
What
like a
was it?
month after she gave it to me. An Oldsmobile, a Cutlass Supreme.
Oh, dude.
Blue, like beautiful. The seats were so comfortable. And the mechanic was like, never put this thing's pedal to the ground because these motors can't withstand. Like, don't ever do it.
Huh.
And I didn't do it, but one night I was kind of, a teenager out ripping around the back roads.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, exhaust came out of the air conditioner, out of the vents.
Ooh.
And I'm like, what the hell? And I started hearing like a knocking noise. And I was like, oh,
Would you blow the head gasket?
blew the motor on. I bent a rod, I guess, because it started to knock.
Spun a bearing,
And
probably.
Yeah.
my
Started
dad's
knocking.
one of our friends bought it from us
I
for
don't
like
know,
$600, and my dad was just
I've never
like,
blown a motor.
my dad was disappointed.
Knock on leather.
I've blown like 4.
Really?
Well, I've blown 2 in my motorcycle.
How's the bike running? Have you taken it out at all?
I've only put like 50 miles on it probably since I've gotten it back. I've just been so busy with work and this Corona thing. There's not really anywhere to like. I just rode it to work the other day. I can't really like rip on it yet until I put about 500 miles on it.
Yeah, break it in.
Something's just the throttle's a little different when it's super cold and I start it up right away. If I go to take off, like if I start it up, let it idle for 30-40 seconds and I go to take off, it bogs down like there's no like I'm in 2nd or 3rd gear.
Is it getting too much?
But then when
fuel?
it warms up, it's perfectly fine. But when I had to take that throttle body off, I had to fuck with the cables real bad to get the cables to come off the bracket. And when I got it back, Zach was like, "Hey, I didn't touch any of that, like, because I just built the motor real quick because he was leaving back to Arizona." So maybe the throttle cable might need to be adjusted, but it wouldn't make sense to me because the throttle cable needed to be adjusted. It would do the same thing when it was still warm.
It would run at high RPMs when it's warm. Then
So I don't.
if
I don't
that's
know.
changing it.
The only thing I could think of is that I have a programmer on a Power Commander 3, a real old one. Like it breaks off, so the bottom will come off of it sometimes. That thing could, for all I know, dude.
It stays on it.
The Power Commander, I have a Velcro to it. Yeah, I mean, you unplug the original harness on it and you splice in the Power Commander. So now it has to run through that to run through the rest of it. Maybe Zach never hooked it back up. There's still some things I need to take a look at. It's running. I mean, it's running good. It's got 220 pounds for compression. Like before I had like 180.
Yeah.
So it's tight. The response is tight, and that thing rips. But I've been thinking about trading it in.
Get a newer
Same
model.
bike when you were there, like the same motorcycle.
What year is it?
2007. I mean, it's got all brand new LEDs in the headlights now, so they're like crazy bright. The front turn signals are blacked out now. It looks sick.
Yeah.
But dude, I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm over going fast because I still love it.
Yeah, but you could get a newer one that's more reliable and go fast.
Or
too.
I could get a Harley and just turbo it. I've been thinking about it.
My buddy
jump
just
into
got
the
an
Harley
Indian.
game. I've ridden them and I hate them. They're big and dumb and slow.
There's
They're
a
real,
new
like-
model that just came out. He likes it.
But imagine like a sick Harley all blacked out and with a hidden turbo on it that you didn't know about. That would be sick.
When
And
you're
then
out running fucking meth for the Hells Angels.
But now I can cruise, right? I can like be comfortable, sit up, cruise,
not saying
hang
that
out.
happens.
And then if I need to, I can still go, at least I can. If I could still do 150, I'll be happy.
So
140.
When
That's
you say
cool
that,
with me.
I need to. Do you need to go 150 miles an hour?
I just love it. I just love adrenaline more
So
than anything
it's
in
not
the
a
world.
need. It's a.
Yeah,
What
it's
do
an
you-
absolute need.
What do you replace like your adrenaline with now that you're a retiree?
I don't know, man. I haven't figured.
Well,
it
you're
out.
surfing now.
I'm just exhausted all the time with that. From that, I get my ass kicked.
Yeah, but that's adrenaline though.
When you get up, yeah, and it's cool. You're like, I'm up, and you try to turn and stuff. But there is no replacing the adrenaline of killing people and getting paid for it. I mean,
You
Come
make
on.
it sound so business.
I had a math sergeant tell
was
me that
so
in boot
fun.
camp or whatever. No, in MCT, he's like, you'll never understand the adrenaline you get from taking a soul. And I was like a little PFC, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
I remember my first call for fire was in the COC, and I was fucking shaking, dude. My hand, I'm sitting there looking at the fucking ISR feed and these IED emplacers, and I'm just like fucking shaking. And I'm just calling it in over voice because all of our digital shit went down.
Oh,
And,
no way. Digital went down? No way.
Dig went down right as this fire mission was getting ready to happen. Right when they're like, I heard, hey, there's an IED in placer, and I'm like, what? And then poof, everything went down. But I had this satellite radio. I always kept radio checks every day on, and we ended up doing the call for fire on that. And then I got to do a repeat, HIMARS. I did HIMARS call for fire voice.
So
Got to do a repeat. It was
were you
fucking
shaking
crazy.
From
The adrenaline was
I
the
don't
first
wanna mess
time.
it up.
All of it, dude. Everyone
Yeah,
was
being in
watching
the
me.
COC,
Everybody in the
absolutely.
command center's watching you.
And everyone
Like,
in there is important.
The
You know, it's
OPSO
not
comes
like-
over. He's like, Kramer, can we do a repeat mission? I'm like, fuck yeah, we can. Like,
Yeah,
fuck
watch
that
you say
dude.
This repeat.
I just talked to Lacey about that the other day, actually, getting out just yesterday, talking about, I just missed the adrenaline. I think that there's not really
Imagine
much,
doing like spy rigging, rappelling.
So that's what I
like,
brought up. Like when you're out on the
fucking
island or
hiking.
whatever, and say like a 53 comes and picks you up, or think about that as a civilian.
riding in the Hueys out to fucking Arizona to do a raid.
Have you ever gotten picked up where it's just maybe two of you, or maybe even two of you usually, where you're getting picked up by a bird and taken off? And just two of you, thousands of dollars of fuel just came and picked you up in a fucking attack helicopter. Like not an attack helicopter, but like a Huey
Well,
or
no,
something.
Huey's an attack helicopter. I mean, it's a utility, but it's still an attack helicopter.
But
Well,
that doesn't happen in the civilian. Like none of that cool shit you see in movies, like fast roping on a building.
I was talking to someone the other day. I don't remember who it was, but I remember talking to someone about riding in a helicopter. And it really hits you that no one outside of the military has ever ridden in a helicopter, and it freaks them all out. Like, I would never fucking do that.
That
And
hit
I'm
me
like,
when
dude,
we did the raid to Arizona. I don't know if you were the sergeant major. You were with us.
Yeah.
We did a raid. We basically left California in the afternoon. They picked us up from the Anglico, like the LZ right there.
No, we went over there. No, I was on
no,
the road.
no.
We went
It
over
was
across
by
from
the.
Recon.
Okay, we walked across the road to Recon. Got picked up by fucking helicopters. Flown.
There was like 5 Hueys
While
came
I
and
just
dropped in
I
and picked us
cowtailed
up.
off the side of it. We got to sit on it. Everybody was chilling in there. Did a fucking raid in Arizona, and then catched a ride back before sunset.
It was like a 30-minute raid, and then we flew back.
It was nuts to me that
And
I'm
you
like,
fly over the dude. That's when my Huey almost got hit by that Cessna.
yeah.
I was on the headphones. I had the headset on, and I'm sitting there like listening as they're flying, and I just hear the senior pilot, which was like I think the Squadron XO or something, and then like a junior pilot, and he's like, "This is like a training flight for this dude."
Right.
And he's like, because he's gonna let him got the controls, and then all of a sudden, I guess the senior guy seized the Cessna, and was like, brake right, and I hear this on my headset, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I feel it go left. And the senior guy's like, I said brake right, I've got the controls, and then cuts it back the other way. And then Damaro or somebody said, like afterwards, they're like, bro, you were so close to getting hit by that Cessna. They're like, because they were coming, over. I guess I talked to the pilots. I guess that airspace out there is just like the Wild West. It's all visual. It's all line of sight.
Oh, really? Out like by Yuma and stuff?
Well, yeah, when you're flying out there over the desert and stuff, there's no control towers. There's nobody vectoring people. It's line of sight and stuff like that. And the Cessna was coming into a group of 6 Hueys or 5 Hueys or whatever it was,
Just a pack
and
of-
almost
Did he
hit the
not
one we
notice?
were in. Super sketchy,
Dude, when
man.
I was a kid, so my dad was a Cobra pilot in Vietnam, and he got shot up, so
Here.
he was medically
Keep that.
sent home.
Oh, did you want me to light the blunt? I'm sorry.
No, take that. I'll take one of those. Yeah,
Go on, I'm
no.
listening.
We've never actually heard. I don't think on any of the podcasts about your dad. So I would love it for you to tell us some stories about your dad and like his Vietnam, whatever you know. I don't know if you and him ever talked about
he
it.
got some good ones, like fragging and stuff. But so this is some of his buddies. Back when I was a kid, they were flying from El Paso to wherever, from Fort Bliss to somewhere. And they had to fly over our house. So they landed we had 16 and a half acres. They landed back there, and I was a kid, maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, I don't get. And I rode in the Huey. Got in a military aircraft
As a kid.
and they flew around. And
I think they do that on Jane Wayne days for the
Yeah,
squadron.
but nobody's landing in a backyard and picking up a child.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Like, not an infant, but like a kid.
Yeah, like
No, nothing. Did you just jump in there what you were wearing and just hang on?
Yeah, you just jump in, strap down. I was sitting in the right-hand seat of the Huey, or the left-hand seat, whatever it is.
Where was this at?
New Mexico.
New
But
Mexico.
They flew from Fort Bliss to wherever they were going, and their flight path was by the house.
So
And
just swing through.
And your dad was in there?
My dad was on the ground. But these were his buddies from Vietnam who were
That's
pilots with him.
and your dad was just hanging out and they just
What
He's
a
like,
different
"Hey, come over
time,
here."
man.
You know, maybe they talked before, whatever.
Yeah.
There's an airport in Deming that is a fueling station for the helos when they fly, wherever they're moving helos from wherever to wherever.
That's nuts.
And he's like, yeah, come by the house, man. Dude landed, and so
I want to have more Vietnam era pilots on to talk about that. Like I have that episode with Jerry on. I don't know if you heard
I
that
love
one.
That
Yeah.
episode.
Talks about getting shot down in Vietnam. Fuck, dude.
Did you ever
Can you imagine fucking getting shot down in Vietnam? Like,
did Archer ever get to do anything cool like in his oh man, where did he fly?
career?
Where did he fly?
Archer? He was a Cobra pilot.
Oh, Cobra.
Yeah, he went to
Fine.
Afghanistan.
But no, I know that. But did he get to do any? Did he ever get to do anything cool? Like, did he ever get to like just take that thing for a test spin, or like, like land or not land in someone's yard? But could he like land and take a shit or something, or can he?
I'm sure they've done something like that, dude. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of
Remember-
things where two pilots were married and they were F-18 pilots, I think, and they were stationed somewhere else, and he used the F-18 or something and went
Yeah.
to her. Some weird shit.
So the
happened
first
with
time I
that.
ever heard of that was in TACP school, and there was this female pilot for the Navy, because that's where the Navy, to become FAC A's, they go through TACP school or the ones I worked with were up at EWTG Lant. And she's like, yeah, my friends were all flying down to Daytona Beach or some shit, some vacation place. And so she's like, I put in for leave, and my command told her, like, hey, why don't you just take the jet? Because you need the flight time anyway, and, whatever.
That would never
And I'm
happen
like,
in the Marine
just
Corps.
take the jet.
That would
What?
never happen in the Marine Corps
Oh,
Take
ever.
the jet?
I'm sure they do stuff. I mean, because
No, because so they have to plan their flight, and it has to be stored at a secure location. So it has to be in an area where there's like an airport that has a secured area for military aircraft, either
Right.
obviously a military air base, or there are some airports that have
Yeah.
areas for
yeah,
that.
this is where we put her. Yeah, because there's.
And
like,
she's like, yeah, it's just like people get mad about the Super Bowl flyovers and stuff. Those are still training flights. Those are
yeah.
hours that those guys have to get. There's certain hours they have to get
Yeah.
for formation
Yeah,
flying and shit like
Yeah,
that.
but
Them all in
you're
upper
telling me that
schools
those
up.
people that are flying over the Super Bowl are doing that for their hours, or are you saying?
Yeah,
I'm thinking
100%.
I wouldn't say 100%.
oh, yeah,
You
I'm
think-
sure
Are
it's
you
all
serious?
planned.
You don't
you
think any
seen-
of those guys have already got their hours, but they're like, fuck yeah, I'll
have
fly.
you? There may be some of that for some stuff. Formation
Are those
flying.
straight just military aircraft? Those aren't like the.
Well, it depends on the event. I mean, I'm talking in generalities here.
Oh.
Yeah.
But when there's military aircraft, they're getting hours for that.
Yeah, and they've got to.
They have to spend
maintain
time-
their standard, their training.
So you got to
No,
think if they're not the Blue Angels, if they're a regular squadron, there's a designation and there's a code. There's a TNR code that they're getting if you're like the dude leading a five flight.
Right, but you don't
flight.
think not a single time
Or
any
5
of those
aircraft
have just
flight.
been flying to fly?
Well, I'm
Not
sure
a
there's-
single one of
Well,
them?
all I'm saying is I'm
You're
sure
making it sound like all of them, no matter what, like that's the
but it still
standard.
goes towards their hours.
Yeah, and there's probably the one guy that they're like, hey, we're short somebody. Everybody's got their hours. You got your hours, but we need one
True.
more plane in this group or whatever.
Any pilots that are out there listening, feel free to.
Yeah, you
Put
can.
in
I'm
your
not
input.
saying that there's not, but I think it's very bold to say every time it is for training. I'm thinking I bet there's some times where they're like, fuck it, let's wait. Like when ships do crazy shit in the water, and I'm like, you know how much money this is probably costing to do this cool.
Oh my god, dude!
Like think of that, like Jesus Christ.
Can you imagine what it costs to divert to LHD?
Like
yeah, but they that's all got to be within their cost window. They're not allowed to be like, oh, I'm going to spend an extra $100,000 and stuff.
There's
Why?
so when they're driving across the Pacific, right? It's strategic level planning for how fast they can go because it talks because they have like calculations for the fuel consumption and stuff.
Yeah.
So if I tell them like, hey, go past 15 knots or whatever, then I know that they're going to burn fuel at this rate, and then we're going to have to get a resupply. Are we able to get a resupply then? Well, if not, then we got to have them.
I don't think they ever go below 40% fuel.
I
think
don't
that's
know.
I remember hearing that somewhere. Or never go below half. It might actually be
Maybe.
because they have like a.
The Macon Island was a
gnarly
hybrid.
Reserve. Really?
Yeah.
Like electric hybrid?
Yeah.
Like a Prius?
Yeah, it's a Prius of the sea.
Well, how? How's it electric?
I have no idea, man. But that thing still burned. So much fuel.
yeah, it did.
It burned the MoGas to run the electric turbines.
Yeah.
We'd be up there in the. Did you ever work?
Mogas.
Did you ever work out up at the?
Yeah, remember with the beginning it was
Crow's
cool.
Nest
You
or
and I
not
just
Crow's
did
Nest?
it, and then all of a sudden a fuck ton of people started doing it. Justin found this really cool like workout spot in the Crow's Nest.
I knew
like,
it from my
nobody
first
ever
deployment.
used. This nice corner on the deck where nobody knows where you're at, and you get the sunshine.
There's 2 rowing machines, like 2 or 3 bikes, and then
and
like
it was
a
like-
kettlebell set.
It was like the
nobody
officers
used
use
it.
it. And it was like maybe like the captain
It was
used
off
it.
The
I don't even-
deck or
officers, naval officers knew about it because that's like a spot that they could work out in.
Yeah, it's off
So
the
Justin and I
Enlisted
started
folk weren't allowed
going
to
there,
use it.
and then all of a sudden more people started going there, and
When
then it
you,
got
when you started
too
seeing
many.
when you started
Right.
seeing the green on green show up, then it was
Yeah.
like fuck. Someone
And
from
then-
the BLT's up here, and then that's when the chief
Yeah.
comes down and was like, "No,
Yeah.
E6 or below are allowed up here," and like, "Fuck you."
yeah.
That's crazy. That's cool though that you find a good spot.
It
like
was,
that.
and there was rowing machines, and we were like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck is this?" And it was like on the very top too. That was legit.
There was a
Fucking rowing
a
machines,
Navy
dude.
chick on the ship one time. She was a fat girl, and
Standard issue.
That's not true. There's
She
some
was
pretty
doing
decent
the,
looking Navy chicks on the ship.
I never
Juffier.
believed in that whole heart
There's some
monitor
rough ones.
thing. Like,
There's some rough
you wear the
dudes.
heart monitor and stay within this range and blah blah blah.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's a bunch of freaking horse shit. Just run until you die, and then get up and run again tomorrow. And but during the
Just
deployment,
run.
she stayed. in her-
you can't run again.
Yeah. Well, what's the saying? You run as far as you can, then you run as far as you must.
Okay.
Fight as hard as you can, then you fight as hard as you must.
Huh? I've actually never heard that saying.
Well, not yet. So, anyways,
It's old school, I
you guys
guess.
cracked me up.
What were you saying about?
So, anyway, she stayed in her heart rate thing, and it was kind of like a joke because how you got the like treadmills in certain parts of the ship,
Yeah.
like in
Yeah.
a weird spot, like you got to walk past, and it looked like she's barely moving. So this other guy, Beltran, he decides he's going to do that, and he does the same thing. Well, during the 7 months, she lost, I don't know, 40 pounds or something.
Damn.
And then he's like, then when you get off and you're in Guam or whatever, you go for a run, he's like, I'm flying like a rocket. And I've never even broke a sweat on the
Really?
elliptical, but he stayed in that heart range thing.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of workouts like that.
Yeah, so I guess there's some validity to it, obviously. There
Yeah.
is.
There's what's that dude? Diamond Dallas Page like yoga program. That's something like he
Isn't
does.
Diamond Dallas Page a porno from like the 70s?
No, he's an old school wrestler, right?
Debbie does Dallas.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
So
He probably had porn on tape. That's before my time.
What did
VHS.
you do on ship, like without air conditioning
Or laptops.
or like were you ever on a boat without like?
probably
you
read a lot of books.
You read books, you
Yeah.
worked out, you played cards.
You know, I never took a laptop on any of my deployments.
That's dumb.
5 deployments, no laptop.
Why?
I read a shit ton of books.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but-
read like some muscle and fitness or something like that or whatever it was, fitness magazine. I read that sucker cover to cover, every single advertisement, every at the very
That's-
bottom it says
Yeah.
this is not true.
Yeah.
Don't buy this. Or
That's
whatever.
pre-internet, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's
pre-internet when you'd go and take a shit and read the fucking shampoo bottle.
Man, I tell you
You're
what,
like, "Ah,
the internet is the
rinse and
neatest.
repeat."
The
Yeah, that's the part I've been
neatest thing
missing.
ever.
Repeat.
Was
we're
it
lucky,
hot on the boat?
We're
Were you ever
lucky
on the
enough
boat?
to know what the internet was or what it was like before the internet
Right.
and see after.
But imagine being an adult without internet. Having to know things that your kids ask you and shit all the time and like be like, oh.
There's a whole study out there about that, about how we don't retain knowledge like our grandparents did, because then you had to retain it.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
had to look it up and you had to remember. And then now we don't have to retain it because
It's like addresses
That's
and stuff like
100%
that.
I
true.
hit it, boom.
100%
It's like
true.
addresses. You used to have to get in the phone book and look at the map in the phone book if you didn't have an actual
Yeah.
Yeah.
map book in your Rand McNally map or
I'm
whatever
actually
in
a
your
pretty
car.
bad dude at that. Like I use GPS everywhere, even if it's something stupid. I'll still put it in the GPS, and I'm really bad at doing roads now because I just never even look at them.
There's
Yeah,
only
you have
one
to
way
just
I know
listen.
how to get to your house, And if I go the other way, if I go down University,
Yeah.
I turn around every time. I'm like, where the fuck am I at?
That's funny because on the way up here, so your address is also, that same address is on the other side of Paula Casino. There's another
Oh, really?
matching address. So that's why I asked for your address again. I'm like, wait a minute, did he move?
Paula.
I typed it in.
That's not even close.
It's way out in wherever. It'll come
You know,
up.
I've never been to Paula Casino.
Um,
We should go to the casino one night, man.
Yes,
we
we
should.
should do a casino night.
So,
I've heard it's awesome.
you know what I like about Paula?
It's probably got really good
Well,
food.
when it reopens. Fuck,
Does it
we
have
can't
good
do
food?
anything right now.
What's that?
Does it have good food there?
It's fair. I mean, it's food for the masses. I'm kind of a food snob, you know, because when you cook at home, you can put a lot more spices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
wanna-
good.
I'd want to play craps, but they
Calories.
they only play card games there.
I don't gamble ever.
The Indian
I'm
casinos
not-
don't have dice or.
I'm not good at gambling, and
No,
I don't
should-
ever.
Yeah,
I won't
just
be.
give them my money and walk away and don't even waste my time.
I've only
Really?
gambled at a casino a couple times.
Oh my
It's-
god, dude!
Last time I went, I won. I put $10 on, and I won $10, and I left. I was
Yeah.
like, all right, cool, thanks for $10.
Yeah, I'm
Craps
breaking
is
even.
my game.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I'm drawn to Paula because they did it completely debt free.
What do you mean?
So the Paula band of Indians, whatever.
Yeah.
I like the backstory to this shit. So they have avocado fields and this and that, and then they just built what they could when they had the money. So instead of going into a tent or something like that and then
yeah.
getting a bunch
Yeah.
of debt, building the hotel, and then letting the casino pay for itself over time,
Yeah.
they paid for it as they went forward. So it was always profit.
That's like that casino at Fort Sill in the tent.
I never went.
Oh man.
Yeah, so the ones in the tent they're on their way.
Yeah, they're
You know?
they're
Who the
like
hell's a
working up to
casino in
make
a
money.
tent? Is that a thing?
In outside of Fort Sill in Oklahoma, in Lawton, there's 2 casinos there. One's in a tent, and the other one's like in a building.
Yeah.
So the
Well, you've
tent one
driven
is like
past
he
them
said,
before.
dude. When you're in the
Where?
tent, you don't really realize you're inside of a tent.
Wait, like where? Like on grass or like what are you on?
No, you're on like a regular. You walk on carpet and everything like
they're-
that.
It's like a case band, but it's
Okay, pick
speed.
how what like
2
a TP
floors.
tent
You're
or
talking
like
about 2 floors.
a tent, like a
Massive tent, dude.
Yeah.
Massive,
Like
like
imagine
big,
the Goodyear
huge,
blimp
huge
on the
circus
ground
tent.
type
Like-
Huge circus tent.
yeah.
So how many like feet are we talking? Like
You're
how,
talking 2 floors, dude. Inside this tent.
like
Huge.
walking into a Walmart that's a tent?
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah. No, you
a
don't
small
know it.
Walmart.
Yeah.
yeah, like the one in Oceanside there,
But
the little market
you've
one.
for sure you've driven past them, just haven't noticed.
Where?
On the 15, I think. There's one on the 15. I know there's a couple if you take the 40 out towards Arizona.
I don't really go to casinos out here.
Man,
I'll
they're
go to
dumb.
Vegas.
I feel like you're just never
No,
gonna
man.
win.
Craps, bro.
Well, that's
Fucking craps.
Do you win
Ugh.
often?
Dude, last time I went was in Reno on my cross country road trip. I got hung up in Donner's Pass because it was just so awesome to like see everything, and I was planning on camping past Reno, and I didn't. It was too dark, so I was like, well, fuck it, I'll just stay in a casino, or I'll stay at a hotel and go to the casino. And there was some kind of rodeo going on, so all these
Yes.
cowboys were at the casino. So I'm like, dude, it's like the Wild West. Yeah, I won $600.
Nice.
That's
Paid for
awesome.
my fucking hotel room. Like,
You never been to Vegas during PBR or during the professional bull
I've
riding
never been to
championship?
Vegas more than 24 hours.
Man, that's when like
One time.
That's Vegas's like biggest thing they
2
put
times.
on is this like the PBR. That's the biggest thing that happens in Vegas, basically.
No.
I swear, look it up. It's fucking insane.
Is it?
Vegas is packed with everywhere you look is a cowboy hat and like real
Well,
cowboy.
but
like,
yeah, but
money
I think
people.
that's every major event is there. Like EDM's big there. You have what's the Napa or not Napa? No, what's the car one?
I don't know.
NASCAR?
No, the car, the
NHRA?
huge car
Oh,
event in
SEMA.
Vegas. SEMA
SEMA,
car show.
What's that?
What? SEMA's like
You gotta Google
the
it, man. You got your phone?
SEMA's like the industry so Vegas is where everybody does their industry like trade shows. SEMA's the industry trade show. That's where car companies. That's like the Super Bowl for car companies, like introducing new stuff and stuff like that.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Guys like Gas
Yeah.
Monkey Garage, they build a vehicle for SEMA.
Yeah,
You know,
there's
Who
competition.
owns SEMA?
SEMA?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's an
SEMA
organization. They just rent out a convention center.
Yeah.
wonder how much
S-
money
Like
they make
EDM rents out the NASCAR track.
Yeah.
So
I drove by it. We were coming back from Utah when we hiked through Utah, and I remember driving by it. And I'm like, holy shit! Like I told CSUN, I was like, you want to swing through, or we're all fucked up from being on the trail for 4 days. Like you just want to, we'll do an edible real quick and go in.
So you just said earlier that you got stuck in Donner Pass.
Oh yeah,
That was interesting.
yeah. Ironic, right?
What's Donner's Pass?
Donner's Pass. You never heard of it? So Donner's Pass is where there was
Donner
the
Party.
Donner Party was a group of people moving west during the everybody moving west on fucking trailers and shit or on wagons, and that was a pass that they were trying to get over. You have to get over before winter hits, or you get stuck, and they end up getting stuck on this like.
Is that where they ate each other?
Yeah. So I went through there. I'm telling you what, man, Donner Lake, look it up. Probably the most scenic lakes I've ever seen them. That's why I got stuck up there. I'm looking at the sunset. I was up there at sunset. So I'm watching the sunset through this mountain pass and this fucking awesome lake. It's near Lake Tahoe, but it's super nice, man. It's a huge ass lake, and you're like 45 minutes or so from Reno, 30 minutes from Reno.
So, are you doing a photography thing too?
What?
Do you do a photography thing?
I haven't shot photos in a while.
Because I know
Where is this man, man?
I did shoot. I shot a.
Because you mentioned the sunset.
All the
Well,
pictures. This is
I shot
his,
it-
That's his up there.
Yeah.
I shot a ton of photos during that trip. There's some. I have some pictures of Donner's Pass on my Instagram, I think, or on my maybe my personal one. I don't
Is
know.
it
You
an
don't
old
do that
school town?
anymore,
No, not the town, but there is a. If you get off the freeway and take the
does.
state highway
Oh.
into Reno, you go through like this old, like it's like a mountain town. It's like a little village by this running river, dude. It's great, man. It's a great place.
Man, if you haven't
Great time.
If you haven't gotten out and seen things, like there's multiple people that in my hometown that have never really left, the area. If you haven't though and you're listening, you really should. There's so many cool things to see.
I'm glad you brought it up, honestly, because I hate on people all the time from Indiana. I'm like, oh, they always go to Florida, blah, blah, blah. That's not me. I'm not hating on you going to Florida. I'm telling you, like, Florida's great. Whatever. Go to Florida. Change it up, though.
Yeah.
Change it up, though. Don't go to the same spot every time. See the country. Go to the Ozarks.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
There's like even in like Wisconsin,
Go to
and,
fucking
like,
Louisiana.
Utah. Like there are some beautiful ass states in this country.
Yeah, dude.
Wisconsin is
Every
beautiful.
state's different.
You don't have to be the outdoorsman guy either.
No.
I mean, you can go to, what is it? The Studebaker Museum. I went there in South Bend, Indiana.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So it's pretty badass. It's Studebaker History Museum and all that.
Yeah.
But across the street is the old Studebaker factory, and it's all dilapidated. It's got like chain link fence around it. It looks like Detroit, But even that's pretty cool.
Everybody wants a body of
Yeah.
water, but there's bodies of water everywhere.
Lakes are awesome.
And honestly,
think
I like
so
lakes
cool.
are better than the ocean. I love the ocean. The ocean's great, and you can't replace the ocean. Sunsets on the ocean, getting out on a surfboard in the ocean, stuff like that. You can't replace that. But lakes are better because it's calm
more
water,
fun. More fun.
a good lake,
Yeah,
Yeah.
clean lake.
You got,
a clean
you
lake.
got the boats out
You
there.
got the
It's not like
boat, you got
big
the
choppy
pontoon
waves.
boat.
Yeah.
Everybody's chilling on the pontoon boat, got some music playing,
Absolutely. No, I do, and you could. I like fishing out there, like
fishing. Yeah,
casting off the side of it on the shore. The ocean to me is awesome. Like you
I love the ocean.
Everything you just said is exactly how I feel. But dude, lakes are fun. But if you never grew up with one, then you really won't understand.
I think that's why people like Florida though, because in the Gulf, there's not huge waves.
Yeah.
The water's pretty clear. It's warm.
Oh,
you know,
for sure. And
that's what
the
you
white,
want.
Well, the white beaches too is like that very vacation-like sensation. Florida's fucking crazy though.
I've only been a couple times. I went once when I was a little kid and once to go work AC-130s out there,
There's
so I
just
didn't. It
Too
was a
much
business
humidity
trip.
for me. It's so hot, so sticky hot. It's like,
Oh, the humidity, dude. Yeah, the
Bugs.
South.
That's
and the
thing,
bugs are
bugs.
fucking crazy.
They have mosquitoes.
It's like
not the whole
California's
place.
perfect.
You know who
Um,
didn't go to Paris Island? These two fucking
That's
losers.
right. San
You're damn
Diego.
right.
Yeah, I still
Listen to
have
you
my
complaining.
issued
The
sunglasses
bugs.
Yeah.
when I
The
drive.
humidity.
MCRD. How was MCRD when you went through?
It's probably the same as it is now. The
Did you get
buildings-
beat?
There was
Tell
payphones
us.
and shit.
Did you get beat?
No. They haven't been beating people since the.
Hold on.
Force.
I got punched in the throat in fucking boot camp.
Yeah, but that's because you talk a lot, man.
That could be
Okay.
true. That's because
Oh.
the drill instructor found me reading a magazine. So he punched me in the throat. He took it and punched me in the throat.
See that you don't have to do any of that. You never have to physically. I never touched a kid.
Yeah.
Never. you can destroy someone. I've had kids throw themselves off the second deck, just mentally destroy them.
That shit's all over the news now. You fucking maniac.
No, we stopped them.
I had a buddy.
We had a contest. Me and another guy. He's still in, but we had a contest to see how many suicide attempts.
Holy shit!
Jesus, that's a different Marine
That's
Corps.
crazy, man.
Ideation doesn't count. Ideation is like, oh, that's just some kid that wants to.
What year were you a drill instructor?
In the 97, 2001, 2000.
I totally forgot you were a drill instructor.
Oh, you didn't? How can you forget? He acts like a drill instructor.
What do you mean? He doesn't really act. Is that where you get your?
That's where his motivation and
comes from.
Inner discipline.
Like your demeanor, is that where it comes from? Like a drill instructor, like your, run until you can't, and then run more, and like kind of stuff like that. Is that where you get it from?
No, I get it from one of my platoon sergeants when I was like a sergeant, corporal and sergeant. He was like the guy, that you're like, oh, from India. I told you the story.
Yeah, you have to have a good mentor, man. Tell it again. So the thing is people. There's a lot of people that have only started listening to the podcast since video started. So feel free to, if you want to, tell something again that you've talked about before.
Yeah, well, they can probably look it up, but yeah, that's the whole. He was from India, immigrated to the States after he ran away from home at like 16, and stowed away on a freighter and ended up in Okinawa.
Oh shit!
And then he trained there until he became 18 or whatever. And then his family had immigrated to the States, so he immigrated to the States. And then he went on to get his master's, and then he joined the Marine Corps as a private. Joined the Marine Corps to kind of like pay America back for the great life he was living, in comparison to, I guess, where he was from in India.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, he was my platoon sergeant.
You had to look up to that guy?
What a dude to look up to, man.
That's why they say, and they're like, oh, you're a legend. No, I'm just standing on the shoulders of legends that I'm taking the bow for.
We all are, dude.
That's
we all
nuts. Yeah, that's super
These are
true.
the kind of dudes. But nobody liked him because he was
probably
super
hardcore.
driven. Yeah, he used to go like that. And he had the accent. He sounded like the 7-Eleven guy. So
yeah.
But I liked him.
There's a difference between people that are like supermoto and good at their job and like legitimate dudes, and dudes that are supermoto and they use that to hide their fucking incapacity to do their job or be good at anything but be moto.
And that's okay if you're doing it up front until you get your feet under you. Like if you don't know what you're doing, but you're going to be motivated until you do. And then,
fake it till you make it.
Yeah, that's okay. But I get what you're saying.
I knew a gunny like that dude, they would not even let him answer the phone because they did not trust him. I'm like, why do you keep promoting him? He was getting promoted to gunnery sergeant. I'm like, you're telling me that you don't trust him to answer a phone because he's such an idiot, but you still promote him. No one will fucking say in his remarks and shit and give him bad remarks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know why that happens. I mean, I do know why it happens. I guess people want to be liked. Or have you ever heard the theory we promote to the point of incompetence?
No.
Like the dude is a really good lance corporal. He's the man. But he's not a very good corporal. I mean, now a corporal is not like it was then, but then a corporal was like, you're like, fuck, you brag about it. I'm a corporal. Now,
yeah, it's a huge deal.
Yeah,
we've minimized
4 years to get there.
When I was getting out, at least, go ahead. When I was getting out, it was always like, hey, the NCOs are the backbone of the Marine Corps, blah, 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 blah. But then NCOs would get shit ass jobs. You'd lump them in with the junior Marines. I refused to put a sergeant on mess duty while I was on ship.
Yeah,
I was like, my sergeants will not stand mess duty because there has got to be like, one, there's enough corporals and below. It sucks for the corporals, but they're working supervisors, right? Yeah. Sergeants are doing other shit. Sergeants are doing planning. I have them setting up ranges. I have them setting up other shit, whatever. They are not fucking there's got to be like a separation of like.
There was corporals that were cleaning bathrooms.
No
like,
way, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like why
I made the NCOs clean one time because
I meant sergeants. There were sergeants that were doing duties that were just
degrading,
like,
man.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
degrading.
like in a comms section, there's so many of them.
Well, therein lies the problem. So if you have, like when I was in Dragon's platoon, we had 2 corporals and a sergeant, and then at one point we had a staff sergeant. That was it for 54 dudes or whatever platoon size was at the time. It was 54 or something, 44. But that was it. So those guys were the guys.
Yeah.
Now if every third guy is a corporal and every fourth guy is a sergeant, that kind of promote too fast. We had a staff sergeant that was a Vietnam vet. You know, had
That's
a Bronze
nuts.
Star from Vietnam.
A Bronze Star from Vietnam.
Yeah. And you know, his story was funny because he's like, I'm like, hey, staff sergeant, you know, tell us your story or whatever. He's like, oh, I was afraid to get on the bird. They were evacing people, and one of the birds got shot up, and he was afraid to fly. So, yeah, one of the birds got shot up and almost didn't make it. So I was afraid to get on. So I kept shoveling other people on because he didn't want to. And that bird would fly and it'd come back and pick up the next group. And so I got a freaking Bronze Star for being scared to get on the freaking helo.
You know who I miss is Gunny. Who's the goddamn? He was a drill instructor. He had the scuba bubbles and
Easton?
East.
Gunny Easton. You remember him?
Yeah.
Man, he's a mass sergeant or a first sergeant now. That man was
he's probably a sergeant major
absolute
out now.
riot.
Yeah. He was
Well, no, I shouldn't say now. You're right. When I was getting out, he was a first sergeant, but he was a riot. You throw him in front of the. We were doing practice for your graduation or for your retirement.
Graduation of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do the same thing all the time.
And Gunny Easton's out there. All right, secure them timepieces, getting us to take our watches off and like making us drink.
See, he was a supermoto guy, but he was good at his job.
Yeah, he was really good at his
So-
job.
And he was open-minded enough to. That's what I liked about him. You know, he'd be like, hey, this, and this, and he'd be like, all right, hey, what if the opposite is true? You always try to ask that. You know, when somebody says, oh, coronavirus is fake. What if the opposite is true? What if it's real? It's real. What if the opposite is true? What if it's fake? So you could think, but he was that guy that could. He wouldn't answer you right then. He'd be like, let me think about it.
Yeah.
And I like that. You know, like, hey.
I remember he was on the phone with some master sergeant, and some master sergeant was like chewing him out, and it was over some bullshit. And he hung up the phone, and he was like, "You talk to Gunny Sergeant Easton like that, but I bet you won't talk to Michael Easton like that." And I was like, "God damn!"
Jeez.
Oh,
He was a big
trip.
dude.
He was a big. We used to have a chief when I first, not a chief. No, never mind. That was an Okinawa.
Admin chief with fucking jump wings and dive bubbles.
He was cool. He said all he got him by just asking favors and then getting favors returned. Like,
Well,
let me go get that.
I was
for
like,
you. Let
did
me
this
go.
recon guy move to be an admin
No.
chief? They're like, no, dude, he's just admin. He was with recon though and got to go to those schools.
Well,
I'm like, what?
My one of the best Marines I've ever known. His
Getting
name's
getting
Mike
DTS done
Franks,
underwater.
right? He was an admin guy, S1 guy, and he was at Schrig when Anglico was part of Schrig as an admin guy.
Yeah, okay. When it was headquarters, right? They disbanded the formal Anglicos. Is that how it was?
It was before they had made Anglico again. So Anglico was part of Schrig, Special Reconnaissance Intelligence Group.
Okay.
So he had like intel dudes, but he was an admin guy. But he did all the training because he was all moto. Like, hey, I'm going to the range. And
Yeah.
You know how we always just try to get people out there. So he had, you know, all that jump wings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we were hats together. And he was short, wore glasses, didn't have the drill instructor look. So First Sergeant is punishing me for the trash can issue. So at one point,
Remember
Trash
that?
can.
Remember
So
that stuff?
you couldn't throw the trash cans down the stairs. And that was the thing. Like, hey, no more throwing trash cans down the stairs. No more kicking them. No more destroying trash cans.
Dude just
Because-
walking by like, fuck you, trash can.
Well, you used to throw them down the stairs and make noise or,
Yeah.
you know, smash them and do psychotic stuff. Well, that was costing the Marine Corps, like, lots of money. There's, like, all these crushed trash cans.
Look, our trash can budget is through the roof.
Yeah.
So,
It's because
I
they
was
buy
over
those
at
stupid
receiving.
metal ones instead of those plastic ones.
so you're filling in at receiving. Yeah, they do have that now. So I'm over at receiving, and I get a couple of those trash cans, and you know how you get the lifetime supply of Duraglit. So I have the recruits polishing the trash can until it's like chrome. So now it's my trash can. So I take it with me. You know, when we go over to the squad bay, we pick up a platoon and shit. And I threw it down the stairs. And then, so anyway, I'm getting punished the next cycle. So First Sergeant was like, because I had accidentally opened my mouth, he was like, hey, no more throwing the trash cans off it. And I'm like, that's my trash can. It's not Uncle Sam's trash can.
You brought your own trash can to
No,
throw.
he polished
it-
the Marine Corps, then
Yeah,
said it was
became
his.
mine. Yeah, it wasn't
like
really
that.
mine. It was,
I like that.
my thought process wasn't all there. But
It was
anyways,
yours. It was yours.
I hear that about DIs. When
So,
you're
yeah,
there, you're so indoctrinated.
Yeah, thoroughly indoctrinated in love of Corps and country. So
My buddy told me, he's like, dude, he's like, You try to break dudes mentally. He's like, you think it's hilarious. It's like super sadistic. You know, you get trained to be a sadist.
Well, yeah, the mission is attrition. Not really, though. It's
Not
only
really,
attrition
though.
for those that don't.
He was upset about being a drill instructor because he said nowadays they would rather cut a drill instructor than start a scandal. So like anytime a recruit calls like, oh, this happened, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Allegations.
Allegations. They will bench a drill instructor super fast and like ruin their career rather than
a civilian, not even a Marine yet.
Even when it's not confirmed.
Well,
the thing that kills me, it's a recruit. It's not even a Marine.
That's a myth. I mean, when you're actually in the military.
Okay, well, realistically, that kid knows nothing about the Marine Corps.
Never earned a title.
Yeah.
So that's always the argument.
You're taking a civilian's his word over a Marine's word.
And
for sure.
That was the thing they'd always say. So in this incident, throwing the trash can, first sergeant, I'm like, yes, my trash can. He's like, well, why would the recruit lie? Because he's a recruit.
100%.
That's what they do. He's 17 years old. That's what they do. They lie. They're kids.
What?
I
guess you guys didn't receive your honor, courage, and commitment cards.
Yeah. So
I never lied.
Anyways, I'm getting punished, and one of the punishments was for Franks to work for me. Now Franks is a stud, but he didn't at the time. He didn't have the look, right? Younger guy, sergeant, glasses. He didn't look like a drill instructor. So anyway, he comes and it's me, him, and another guy.
What rank are you at this?
I was a staff sergeant.
What was Frank?
Sergeant. And then our senior, Amaya, was a staff sergeant. And we were buddies from before. We had worked before in the grunts. Or he was an arty guy. But anyway, so Frank's is, dude's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like I go to the Army, you get weapons issued and stuff. I'd be like, hey, go organize the whiskey locker, and then when you're done, come back and I'll give you the next job. Take 10 recruits, go do this. And he'd be back in like an hour and a half. And everything's done, and it's done right. And the recruits are freaking slayed. And I'm like, dude, my last cycle, would have been gone half a day before he came back to do that one job. So anyways, this dude, freaking total stud. So we don't... Our senior, Amaya, he was on emergency leave or something. So it's just me and Franks. So normally have a duty schedule, right? You're on 24, I'm on 24. You're both there during the day, but somebody gets to go home at 2100 and come back at 0530 or whatever.
Oh,
or 0445.
Go home at 9 and get back here at 4.
Yeah,
I think it's worse now, man, for the new guy.
Oh yeah, the new guy, they keep him there. They do. But I never did that. I never did that stupid shit with the new guy. He got on this duty schedule just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Because I want him to be loyal, because shit's going to get ugly. And I need loyalty,
Fucking crazy.
In the mafia, you go to
That's
fucking
fucking
loyalty.
crazy.
What happens? What happens if
Snickers.
loyalty doesn't happen? What happens?
Hey,
You get fed to the fucking fishes, bro. Taking you off PB. Taking you down to the pier.
You got some 550 cord.
Jesus.
4-wheel drive.
Oh my God.
Country boy can't survive. Go to Casey Springs.
What kind of allegations did you have on you while you were down there?
I did pretty good. I didn't have that many.
Wait, so
what's not
back
many,
to being
though?
a drill
Frank's.
instructor, Frank's.
So Frank's he just didn't have the look. So nobody, because he didn't have the square jaw and shit. He didn't look. That dude was freaking terrible, man. He was evil. He was so awesome. So we didn't have a duty schedule. We just stayed there. When you're talking about the mentality, right? So normally you would go home sometime. We just stayed. Me and him, we just stayed. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
We just stayed.
Were you single at this time?
No, I was married, but I lived in San Clemente. So MCRD,
okay.
San Clemente. After I fell asleep a couple times and hit the median, I was done doing that.
So would you just come home on the weekend or something?
Or whenever we come up north,
Yeah.
do the rifle range, whatever. So Frank's turns out.
Wait, time the fuck
So
out.
every 6 weeks, I'd come home and spend
4 days.
a couple days at home and get a meal.
Well, there's some awesome. Because you got breaks, man. So anyways, I'll tell you about that in a second.
It's
You got
not a
breaks.
deployment.
Dude, I had a 6-week break one time. 6 weeks. They're like, go home. And
I'm
we'll
so
see
glad
you.
I never
This is
did
the
a
secret
B-billet.
that nobody's supposed to know, but it was a 6-week break. You went home, graduated the recruits, went home, and came back on March 5th or whatever you had to, recertify
That's
for
crazy.
your CPR and all that. So anyways, Frank's freaking dude's awesome. So, I mean, everything he did was right at the very edge of, oh my God, you're going to kill somebody doing that.
Yeah.
But not enough. He was so good. So anyways, yeah, he turns out, I leave. he becomes the youngest staff. Gets promoted, but he's the youngest staff sergeant chief, running a whole side of the company. Then we end up at SOI together, and he's the admin guy, the legal guy. And then he gets rid of all my slaves, because I was a company gunny for AIT. So I go over to legal and be like, hey, give me 40 bodies. I'm going to paint the parking lot black with black paint.
It's a very Marine Corps Sergeant Major thing to do.
So, yeah.
Isn't that?
It's all faded.
Hey, we're going to go paint the grass greener. We got an inspection coming. General's coming through.
Nice.
Go paint that brown spot green.
Yeah, instead of pulling all these weeds, we're just going to paint over them black. They'll die.
Yeah.
You know.
Kill everything. You know what? I was super upset. I kind of died a little bit on the inside. I went to Paris Island, right? I went to 3rd Battalion. 3rd Battalion was separate from the rest of the recruit training area. Like there was 1st and 2nd Battalion and 4th Battalion were all on one side, and they shared the main parade deck. 3rd Battalion was off by itself, and it had its own parade deck. So people would be like, "Oh, 3rd Battalion, that's where they fucking you can hear them scream at night and shit like that." You know, because they're out there, away from the flagpole, right?
Right.
And I just remember spending so much time on that fucking black parade deck, marching so much. And then I went back to see my buddy Matt Gay, who's a drill instructor. Sergeant Gay. I went back to see him, and 3rd Battalion had moved over to their new facilities. They had moved into the new squad base. And the old one, I drove by and like weeds were going up through the fucking parade deck and stuff.
Man.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
you know, the 3rd Battalion logo was like painted on the center of it and shit like that. I'm like, that's just kind of disrespectful.
Gay should have changed his last name before he joined.
No way, dude.
I would have.
He's a good dude, man.
I would want to be.
He would
picture
beat
being
the
a PFC being called gay.
He would beat the
Back
fuck
when
out
being
of
called
you.
gay is cool.
The thing is he's a fucking badass dude. And I think it comes from growing up, probably being teased as a kid. He probably got in a shit ton of fights.
I understand that he's listening
Super
to
cool
this, and you're
dude, and he
listening
would-
to this, but imagine being a PFC and
trying
not
to-
just being able to fight a sergeant because he's calling you gay.
I'm trying
That
to get him
would
to come
suck.
on. But hey, you know what, man? He's probably used to it, dude.
Gay, if
And
you're
he's
listening,
probably stronger because of
if you're listening,
Come
gay,
on the show,
obviously you
man.
know that I'm not making fun of you. Justin over here is trying to sound like I'm making fun of you, gay. Okay, gay, I'm not making fun. No, I'm just kidding. Can you finish with Frank though?
Great
What
dude.
about
Okay,
Frank?
Him and his
Frank's-
wife are great people.
So Frank's is like, yeah, he's a legal guy, right? There's 107 kids in the legal platoon. So I have an endless supply of slaves for whatever I'm doing. I built pull-up bars. I literally brought rocks and sand from the riverbed and built up the whole side of a building where it was like a hill, and I wanted a workout center up there, you know. All
Were
this
you
stuff.
nice to them during all this? Or were you slave driver?
No, you're a gunny. You're supposed to be a dick.
Oh, you're a gunny. I thought you were a sergeant major.
No, I was a gunny. That was,
He's a sergeant major forever.
yeah, that
He
was,
went through the ranks like the rest of us.
yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, you don't,
This is 97,
Right.
dude.
damn,
I don't
you're-
know what time frame this is. I'm baked. I just
That's
know
true. You're a little
Frank.
high.
So anyways, yeah, so he's a
I just want to
legal
know about
guy.
Frank's.
We've been
So
going
these
through this
kids have
story
been
for
there-
45
some
minutes.
Some of them have been there a year on legal hold, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, so it's legal hold people, not like legal. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm thinking something totally
You're
different.
thinking legal clerks. No,
Yes.
these are people that are criminals, you know.
Oh my God, completely
People that lied,
different.
people that turned over, they're like, in the what's a moment of truth? They're like, yeah, I did smoke weed one time. Like,
That's why when you were saying like
outta
I got
here.
slaves, I'm like, man, you were a slave driver, but they were actually like
Yeah, they were
slaves.
criminals.
Yeah.
You can't use the medical kids because they have like
how long?
breathers.
How long
Yeah.
did guys sit on the island or on MCRD with on legal hold?
Oh, this was at SOI, so they have their own.
You were an SOI gunny at legal. Dude,
Yeah.
okay, all this makes sense.
Yeah,
those are
so
all
these
trained.
Those are
men.
literal slaves. Like
Yeah.
you can do whatever
They're all
you
trained.
want. Trained slaves.
They're all
So, yeah,
trained.
They're already Marines.
Because if you use the ones in, I'm
Yes.
thinking at MCRD, they're not even trained yet. They could be worthless still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
At least
you-
there, they made it through boot camp, so they're at least trained
and they
to.
know, and they're still in.
They respond to
so anyways, Frank's
commands.
cleans that platoon.
Yes. So this is the Franks you're talking about.
Yeah. So in 90 days,
Probably the cleanest
He
floors
takes-
and bathrooms.
107 legal criminals that have, some of them have been there over a year.
How many? 107?
107, and he cleans it out to like
Jesus.
35.
How many shitbags were going into the fucking infantry, bro?
Well, that was 10% or 12% of the
There's
The
always a
entire-
10%.
push through. No, I'm sorry, 12% or 10% was the attrition rate. People that got hurt, medically discharged. So that was probably 3% or whatever.
Huh.
It was a small percentage, but that's a lot of people because the previous admin legal moron just was punching the clock.
Mm-hmm.
The staff sergeant show up, do her work a little bit, you know, but not really do anything. So Franks gets in there and he doesn't know anything about admin. This is his first time ever doing admin as an admin guy. He's a staff sergeant now.
Damn.
He's been the general's driver in Hawaii. He's been with Shrig. You know, he's worked on the ranges. He's been a drill instructor.
Yeah,
he's done everything but
nuts.
admin. So he doesn't even know how to open a book. He gets there. He figures it out because he's a driven dude. I go over there one day to get an army of slaves, and there's like 30 dudes in there. And some of them you can't use because they have court dates or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, I can't.
What kind of criminals are we talking about here?
You know, people that went UA, you know, shit like
Drug pops.
Yeah, drug
bullshit.
pops,
So it's all
UA,
bullshit.
You know, stole something of value. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of it was shit to get out because they want to get out. Cause
Yeah, they're all getting the failure to adapt kind of fucking discharge.
A bunch of losers. But yeah, he cleans that out. And then he becomes a warrant officer. And the dude like, so he was kind of like, I was his mentor on the drill field. And by the end of our careers, he was my mentor. He was like the student has now become the master.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to him?
Oh yeah, he's in Okinawa right now. I think he's a Chief Warrant Officer 5. And he's been one forever. I mean, he like,
Chief Warrant Officer 5 forever.
yeah, and he like
Dude, talk about being an untouchable. Chief Warrant Officer 5. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, he's probably like, go fuck yourself. Like, come in to
in
work for
the
like 2 hours a
admin
day.
field.
What's going on? All right, whatever. I'm going home.
Yeah, in the admin field, like it's kind of like being chief with your shot records.
You're like a senior officer with nothing to do.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
I'm assuming, obviously.
you don't. You
Yeah,
don't
he's
like
probably
me?
listening like, fuck you guys.
You don't know how busy I was.
Would you like your entire
DTS.
OQR to disappear?
Man, I bet his pay is something unreal.
Oh, Chief Warrant Officer 5? Fuck yeah.
And after that many years.
Yeah, and he'll do 30. He'll get 30 easy. But he's like running the second largest or the largest IPAC in the Marine Corps, and was the junior 5.
I bet that's 5
So
G's a
this dude,
month.
So my point to the story was they missed it.
Maybe
In the
more.
beginning, when he was a hat, when he was a drill instructor, because he didn't look like a drill instructor. He didn't have the jaw, the shoulders, you know. He didn't look like one at that age. But once somebody gave him the ability to go, he like just shot like a rocket. And everything he does is like that.
That's crazy. What does he look like? I want to see this man.
No, he's on Instagram and shit, I guess.
Says, I guess.
Yeah.
Man, I always thought that sometimes. So my buddy who's still in, so I can't. He was a drill instructor. He was up at the rifle range, and he's like, "Hey, dude, I know you're down at," and I was I out? No, I was in. I lived in Stuart Mesa, and he's like, "Hey, can you swoop by some Gatorades for me? Like, I'm super thirsty." He was the hat there. I think he was a senior. So he was there, like, watching him overnight or whatever. And so I pull up, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, I'm here." He's like, "Hey, just come and do the squad bay." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm in civilian clothes."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, just come in, just don't worry about it." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck." And Lacey was going to come with me. She was out, but, you know, she was in, so she knew. And I was like, just stay here. Like, recruits don't need to be seeing you walking in here right now.
Yeah.
Like, losing their shit tonight, you know? So I go in there, and I said his name. Okay, yeah, I can say his first name. Cool.
Yeah.
He,
His last name.
He's like, check this out.
Shout
he
out
just
to Will.
goes out there and he just starts fucking these dudes up. And it, to me, was a thrill. Because how many Marines can say they got to go back in and relive boot camp and see it happen, and it's not you? You know what I'm saying? Like, now you already know the funny shit. So now I'm seeing all the behind the scenes. Like, the office space was a disaster. Not a disaster, but the blankets were off it. There was one of the dudes was sleeping on the rack with his boots on. The drill instructor was asleep. There was a drill instructor there. But it was just crazy to just see, like, man, I never knew that that's what it went on. I mean, I can imagine that that's went on.
Well, yeah, there's some human element, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta take a shower and brush your teeth.
Right. But as a recruit, I never saw...
the sheets in the rack. No, hell no.
I've never...
Poncho liner, you know?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But I've never seen... Like, I never saw my drill instructor eat food. Never saw him drink water. Never saw him... One of ours would fall asleep every once in a while standing up.
Oh, really?
But you never saw him do human stuff. They never ate or anything. And coming in, I'm like, these dudes are fucking animals. How are they doing this day in and day out?
Yeah.
And it's cool to see the behind the scenes where they're just racked out every chance they get.
When I went back, I watched a bunch of dudes getting smoked. When I went back to go visit Paris Island, I watched a bunch of dudes get smoked. I've been back to Paris Island twice now.
So did you get? I took a buddy of mine when I was like a Lance Corporal. He came out to visit, and we went down to MCRD. And I've been in maybe 3 years or something, 2 or 3 years. And I go down to MCRD, and I was freaking scared.
Oh, dude!
Like I don't get scared of shit. Combat didn't scare me. None of that stuff scares me. Going back there as a Lance Corporal, I was like afraid. Like, can I walk on?
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
My buddy, he'd never been in the military. He just came to show him
So,
MCRD. But
2 things happened. One, I drove down to Paris Island. The first time I came back, I was in Summerville, South Carolina, working on the MRAP project. Their MRAP, I was learning how to be a mechanic for that. And I was like, I'll just go down to. It was like a weekend, you have nothing to do. I was like, I'll just drive over to Paris Island, check it out, And dude, so when Paris Island, you go across a bridge, to the island, and I just started shaking, and I'm like, what the? And I'm like corporal, I've been in for. I started just shaking out of nowhere, and then I got on, and I'm like, oh shit, I parked over. There's a PX next to the old 3rd Battalion parade deck, and I parked, and there on the end of the parade deck, there's a sand pit. And I parked over in the PX parking lot and stood there at the edge of while you're walking to the PX, you can look over and watch dudes getting smoked in the sand pit. So I just stood on the edge of the parking lot and watched a dude getting smoked. Like, fuck yeah, get him. It was a guide. There was a DI hanging out the second deck of the squad bay. Fuck God, like screaming at him while the drill instructor's down in the sand screaming at him. I'm like, fuck yes.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
Fuck yes. But that's what we see is those little glimpses of it.
Obviously,
imagine having to do that all day.
It's good though, man.
All day.
I saw recruits posted up at if you drive to my house on the 8, right before you get to the 805, if you're going east, right on the right, there's like those motels, kind of hotels, motels right there on the 8. Anyway, there was, it looked like recruits with sea bags, and you could tell they had orders or something in their hands, but they were in civilian clothes, civilian haircuts as well, it almost looked like. I couldn't really tell because I was driving, but they were posted up all in the parking lot, sitting, each one of them stacked in their sea bags, exactly aligned, all like roughly 6 feet apart, with papers in their hands. So I'm wondering if...
Was this recently?
This was 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, they're doing social distancing and stuff.
But what are they doing? Because
the pictures I've seen shows them like...
There was like a fuck ton of them getting off like a bus, basically.
Yeah,
I wonder where
they're on
going.
like every other yellow footprint.
I was wondering if they were going to like MCRD or like to, I don't know. I guess not MCRD.
They're still running boot camp. They're
weird.
running it with masks though.
Dude, that looks terrible. Imagine being a DI with a mask
trying
on.
to yell through the mask. So many things, how that opens up your lung corpuscles or whatever, so you can yell a lot louder.
Wait, what?
What does?
There used to be these things, you got them at the truck stop. They were like speed, but they were legal.
I would smoke some crack.
No, they called mini thins. You'd get them at the truck stop. They were like legal speed. They were like for truck drivers and stuff.
How do you take it?
Mini
like
thins.
pill, yeah. Or you could crush it up.
Snort it off a recruit.
Came in capsules. You put it in Gatorade and drink it.
Recruit, get over here.
But yeah, that's what we do. We just freaking go crazy with we thought Mountain Dew had a lot of caffeine, and that shit's useless. But yeah, so we talk about reality. So
that would have been back. That would have been back in the day when you're drinking Surge. Was Surge a thing then?
No, there was no energy drinks back then.
Surge was delicious.
Was that the first energy drink?
Surge wasn't.
Was it just fucking full of sugar?
Surge was just sugar.
Jolt was a
Jolt.
Oh my god.
Twice the caffeine, twice the sugar.
Jolt. Yeah.
It was like that was a Coke.
Was
product,
that their
right?
advertisement?
Yeah, that was their advertisement. Twice the caffeine, twice the
You
sugar.
couldn't do that now.
Oh my god.
Listen up, people. We're pumping it up
with the sugar.
I got it. Regulations. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
What are you talking about that hippie guava stuff, man?
Oh, Corona.
What
were you saying?
So anyways, talk about reality. So we would do, when it was me, like my first cycle sucked because you don't know what you're doing and you're like
a chicken with your head cut off, I feel like.
you're just yelling the whole time. But
yeah.
Like me and Frank, so we did day on, stay on. We just stayed, me and him. And then finally, Amaya, the senior, he came back. And
that's where this all came from. That.
What a weird life, man.
He takes over, right? And he gives us a day to go home. And we've been there probably 22 days from receiving to every day, all day, just going. Right?
And there's no FaceTime. There's no like cell phone. Just
yeah, no cell phones back then. So I leave MCRD, right? I drive off of MCRD, and I'm freaking freaked out. It's weird. Like there's no.
You just got out of prison.
There's no
It's no
structure.
reality.
Yeah.
It's completely weird. Like.
You're the most institutionalized person.
Yeah, you're like. It's like I can't imagine somebody getting out of jail, but you're doing, you know, producing a product or something.
Yeah.
As a recruit, but I remember leaving and being like, damn.
Dude,
it was like watching TV for the first time after boot camp.
Everybody is so
Yeah.
fucked up those first like couple days after you get out of boot camp.
oh my god,
You're so fucked up in the head.
dude. They gave
I'm
us
walking
30
around with my
days.
shirt tucked into my fucking like gym shorts.
They gave us
Yep.
30
Around the
days of
house.
leave, and it was like the worst thing they could have ever done.
30
days of
Oh,
leave.
Yeah.
Because it was the day before Thanksgiving we graduated. So we got Thanksgiving to New Year's off.
Oh wow!
So everybody was just showing up all fucked up. That's why they give you 10 days. 10 days is plenty to appreciate the normal life. You're a Marine, right? And then they grab you right back, right when you're about to go back to civilian.
Yeah.
30 days, you're full. You're like, why the fuck did I do that?
yeah, you're completely
2 weeks in, you're like,
Oh,
I'm
no.
not going back to
You're
that
seeing
shit.
what you're seeing what reservists go through probably.
Right.
and you're getting paid. So
Yeah.
that's what kids don't realize. You know how they always go home and they're like, I'm gonna get out and go home. When you go home now, bro, you're a hero because you've been gone, and everybody wants to see you because you've been gone. And you're
Yeah.
in the military.
And then 2 weeks later.
Yeah, and you come back. You know, when you come on leave after your first deployment or whatever, you go back. You're an oddity,
Yeah.
and people want to talk to you. But if you go home, you're just another schmuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, after your newness
Fucking
wears
has
off.
been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
Unless
shitty
you're
way to
gonna
put
go
it,
do
right?
something, you know,
A lot of people,
That's
a
I
lot
think-
of people, that's their peak. That's the coolest thing
Well,
they did. I mean, I shouldn't say their peak, right? It's a big deal.
In their own minds.
But a lot of people,
in their own minds.
yeah, they kind of lose sense of their own reality because it's like, we get it, you were in. Like I did a plumbing job the other day, and I could tell this guy walking up, you can just see it, you can just sense it. And he's like, "What's up, guys?" And we're like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "Any of you guys prior service?" First question to us, and I'm like, and I could tell he's that guy that's like,
I mean,
can't
was
wait
he a
to-
douchebag about it? There's nothing
Kinda.
wrong with it.
nothing wrong with it, but he was very like, "This is all I got. This is me. I'm prior service, and I'm always gonna just be that prior service guy."
Well, you're also only seeing a glimpse of his reality.
Oh man, it's so hard to argue
was
with you
there-
about things when
I know
was
what
the
you're
man
saying.
standing right there.
No. I know what you're saying.
I'm telling you that the sense he gave you wasn't like a, "Hey guys, how you doing? I was in the military. Were any of you guys?" It was not that. It was, "Sup guys? Any of you guys prior service?"
I think that's what a lot of people that are successful after the military try to push on guys is it's like, hey, this doesn't have to be your peak, and it shouldn't be your peak. It
No,
should
it's
be
just
your.
a
There should be a
stepping stone.
peak of your military service, but it's not the peak of your life. You know what I'm
And
saying?
I'm thinking that a vast majority of people that joined the Marine Corps joined to be cool because they were the bullied kids in high school, and those are the kids that stay in because those are the kids that have
man.
never had power, and all of a sudden they get power. Not you, not all of them.
There are probably there's a percentage for sure.
There probably is, but there's some that have nothing else to do. Like they don't want to go back to the
yeah.
failed, you know.
I'm
South
not
Bend.
saying
Some
all
people
of them
see it
are
as a
like
stable
that.
pay. Imagine being in the military right now, dude. You're getting paid to do. I think they're doing
Yeah.
like halftime,
Yeah.
maybe no field ops. Every S3 that didn't have their shit together is like, thank God, all the field ops we had planned for this summer are
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
You
I
know
don't
what I'm
have to
saying?
Stress about the shit I didn't do to the last minute.
Yeah.
Every S3 alpha is like, oh,
Either way, assholes. This guy was
Oh, yeah.
he was
No, I
just
know what
a
you're saying.
he was just a douchey kind of.
for the
And
people
it
out
was-
there, they should definitely
it-
not let that be the peak of their
It
life.
just kind of threw me off because it was like, dude, let it like don't be so heavy with it. Like let it come on. If it comes on, come on.
I know what
you
you're
should
saying.
don't lead with that.
Be
That's
mellow
just
with it.
that's a weird thing to lead with.
What? Yeah. What was it that indicated to him to ask you that question?
That's the other thing. I mean, maybe I don't know.
You know,
That's what I'm saying. There was no like I might have been in the I had long
But he
sleeve
might
shirt
be-
on. I didn't have my boots, and I
Yeah.
looked like a normal guy with a beard. Keith looked the same way.
He's probably the same guy you saw
And-
in the van that had the Semper Fi or whatever on the back of his window.
But that's the kind of guy. No, I think that's a total difference.
Think so?
I think his love for the Marine Corps is completely different than some douchebag admin guy that got out after 4 years.
Okay, I know what you're. I know
I'm
what you're
talking
saying.
strictly about the guys that
So-
you know I'm talking about, but you
like
want to
the
argue
like the fake
about it.
motivation kind of
Yes,
dudes. I know what
those
you're
guys.
saying.
Gave you the vibe that there was, but there had to be some reason he asked that.
That's what the whole part of me thinking
But
the way I
it's-
think is that why would he ask me that? Does he ask everybody that?
Yeah,
That's
it's weird.
awkward.
That is weird to
That's
ask
an
everybody
awkward thing
that,
to
for
just
sure.
kind of.
I
Yeah,
agree.
That is an awkward thing.
And then I
I
had
agree.
long sleeves on. I didn't have my boots on. That's what gave me the indication of you know douche guys I'm talking about that are in the Marine Corps that hey, I'm a Marine. They use that as their like
Well, working in the trades, how often did you run into somebody that was a veteran?
super often.
So, I mean, maybe it's a common thing.
I ran into a guy who told me that he was going to tell people he was in the Marines because he thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I was like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I told him. I was like, you probably
That's how you
shouldn't
get your
do
ass
that.
kicked, man.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
that's
like,
not cool.
That's ignorant as fuck.
back at home,
That's
there was
just-
this guy that was hammered that went up to my brother-in-law at a bar that were like, Marines are pussies, and my brother-in-law just beat the shit out of him. He's like, you can't say that, man. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's just the opposite, the civilian version of it being the peak. You know, so you always tell people, I don't want you to be a Marine only. I want you to be a Marine and then you could be whatever. You know, I don't want to just be a surfer. I want to be a surfer and a dude that plays guitar, and a guy that reads books, and a guy who does podcasts, and a guy who does YouTube, and a guy who does photography, and not just that. So that's the thing that you try to get people to understand. Like,
I think your first 2 years in the Marine Corps should be solely focused on learning how the fuck to do your
to be a
job.
Marine,
Yeah,
And be
you
good
like,
at it.
yep.
Be a
2
professional.
years, and that's part of the reason why they don't let. They didn't used to. I don't know if they anymore, but it was like corporals and below, or maybe it was just junior Marines couldn't use TA. You had to be at least a corporal to use TA, because it was partially.
Ours
It was
was a
because
time
like
limit.
it was because you're supposed to be learning your job as a PFC, a
Yeah.
private PFC Lance
Yeah.
corporal.
And that's the thing. That's the one of my worst mistakes in my entire career was in the beginning when you used to do MCIs. They were paper, and you filled in the little
God.
paper sheet and you mailed it
I
in.
hated that.
Well, there was only like 3 tests, so everybody had version A, B, or C, and all you had to do was figure out which
Yes.
answer
Yes.
sheet.
We would all sit in a classroom together.
Yeah.
Like,
and
who
so-
thinks it's A?
No,
It would be like a
Well,
class.
at least you had to learn it.
we
just-
had an MCI NCO that we would give
Yeah.
it to, and then they would grade
Mail it
or
off.
something. Yeah, I don't know.
They'd mail it off, and then you're like, I hope it hits before.
Is
I
that
hope
how
it gets
that
there
works?
before MOL rolls through. Yeah.
God.
So I was
The
cleaning out
bubble
the
sheets,
garage
yeah.
a couple years ago, and I come across some of those that I cheated on. You know, as a PFC,
Everybody cheats on
the
them.
math one, the spelling one. I can't spell my own name half the time. And the math one, the spelling one, a couple other ones. Like I did the cool ones, like land nav, you
Yeah.
know, the PT one, the leadership ones. I did all those.
Were you in a unit that made you, or did you just do it?
You had to do them. You had to have so many points, you know, to get promoted. And
Well,
et cetera,
yeah,
et
but
cetera.
that's 7. Once you get past those 7, though. So I was in a unit. They were like, you had to do 3 a month.
So
When we were in
same here.
Iraq, they
Yeah,
were
same
like,
here.
hey, you have to do 3 a month while we were in Iraq.
I did
So
that.
I've got like 60 something done, dude. Or
But-
well, I did.
I started doing the one of the spelling ones, and I've learned. I'm like, why did I fucking cheat on this 30 years ago? 35 years ago, I
Oh
cheated
yeah,
on
if you
this.
actually did it, you can actually learn shit from it. I mean,
Yes,
it's
I'm like,
legitimate
this thing
learning.
is amazing. Little tricks and how to remember and how to learn to spell things and why the rule I before E and all that. So, anyways, one of the things I would give people advice is actually do this shit because there's a lot of good information in there.
Yeah, but the way that they produce their information is garbage.
It's garbage.
The Marine Corps just needs to up their like CGI production value.
Everybody does it though. Flores sent me a picture today of him in his patrol car with the computer open of him doing his internet training, his whatever it is.
Ugh.
And he's like, dude, it goes everywhere you go. And I'm like, oh, that's gross.
So there's a downside to forcing it, right? So I thought, same thing. I thought, hey, it's great. First Sergeant, I'm going to force. Everybody's going to do the things, right?
Yeah.
So while they're on radio watch, they're doing the thing. And everybody, all the way up, is doing their required PME,
Yeah.
right? While you're on deployment or whatever. So the upside is, I'm a 99.9% of the company is 100% PME complete.
Mm.
The downside is, now some of my stupidest people are eligible for promotion.
Yeah.
Ah.
That's why I don't like it either. I
And
was the
so
same
then you
way.
have to, and it's not hard. You just, do like I did for what's his name. Hey, dude, you're not a 4040. You're a 39.
Yeah.
And that puts you enough that you're not.
Yeah.
And it,
You can't be afraid to tell somebody that they're not good at their job.
Yeah, and you can be better. I'm not saying you'll never be good.
Yeah.
I'm saying right now you're a 39,
Yeah.
and they're like,
What's
"Oh, you
what's
can't
shitty
put
is when
39
guys
if-
hold it against them though.
without, NJP. Yeah, you can. If you turn the page on the next page, in the middle of that page, it says the commanding officer can assign whatever marks he feels the Marine has earned. So it doesn't say you have to have an NJP. So bam, you're getting a 39
Damn.
or whatever.
Not promoted.
Yeah, and then you
We
could
should have done
also
that with what's his face.
denied promotion.
Oh, shit.
Multiple people. We did.
Yeah.
But you got to be on it because sometimes you're.
Yep.
Like,
If
I
that
made
doesn't
the
go
mistake.
through, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, that was
When-
I had to non-promote that
Yeah.
dude last week.
When it's in the
And then
machine,
you're there reading his warrant.
Yes, now he's gonna be a corporal, and you're like, And then everybody's like, I can't believe you promoted him. I didn't promote him.
Yeah, it was an
I was
accident.
freaking standing there. Okay.
administrative error.
The person that promoted the computer up there, and you know,
Everybody in the crowd's just like, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Do you think that if you had to get up and stand in front of a formation right now, you could lead it right now?
Ooh.
I could lead it. I could definitely march people around. I could do that. But
Give him his drill card.
you got to have a. You know, when you go to formation, normally people are like, oh, I got to stand in formation. This is so gay. No, you're fucking gay. But, you know.
What are you talking about? Formation sucks.
Yeah.
It only sucks when you're on the inside, not when you're on the outside.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah, you know what? That is true.
It's like running. When you're in front leading, running doesn't suck. We're in the middle and it's doing this, or in the back. Running sucks.
Well, some of us slow runners don't want to lead the run.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about just being the CO running.
Or just being in the front.
Yeah.
Because you know how you have a natural pace. You'll increase and decrease your pace naturally, even though you're running to cadence or whatever. You're keeping 120 beats a minute or whatever it is, 180 I think, 180 beats a minute. But you're still gonna your stride. Things are gonna.
Yeah.
It's natural. Well, when you're in front, you don't feel that difference.
Yeah,
but
you're
when you're in the
consistent.
back, it's not your natural increase decrease.
Do you? When's the last time you marched somebody? You ever march like your kid or something?
No.
What kind of fucked up person would
Like
march
not
their
for
kids
real,
around?
obviously.
You know
I bet
like,
there's dudes that do that though.
I
Like
do
you ever
wish-
just fucked around with your kid, like just march? I don't know.
There's got to be.
You're telling me the last time you marched somebody was like when you were in the Marine Corps?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I've taught some Boy
Who
Scouts.
else?
I did some guest, Boy Scout things and taught them like how to do 8-count bodybuilders and.
What, have you ever thought about doing Young Marines? Isn't that a thing?
I did it when I was in Oregon when I was still in.
Yeah.
Volunteered.
He's just messing these kids
to
up.
train,
Like
I actually
mentally
trained the drill
screwed.
instructor kids because they have their own kids that are drill instructors.
Oh, really?
That's not
Train
healthy.
them.
That seems like not a good thing to
Well,
do.
but you got to train them, and you train them how to be responsible. Like, hey, you're gonna run these guys across the grass with pencils. That's not a good idea. Tell them to set their.
I'm thinking
know.
of like a drill instructor kid, like not sleeping, like get up right
Like
now.
smoking some kid.
Yeah.
Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up.
Oh,
Put
they
it-
Yeah.
can IT them. There's a whole, but it's not like boot camp IT,
That's
And they can do
unhealthy.
It's like
things-
legalized bullying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get on your fucking face
Yeah.
right now.
but they're good. Those
I'm a
kids,
drill
They're
instructor.
good. They want to be responsible. They want to be. They're not in Young Marines because their parents made them. Maybe they were.
Yeah.
But that group was run by another Vietnam vet.
Her
and that
mom's
dude
come
was-
pick him up in her van.
Flores was a Young Marine.
That dude was who?
He was just on it, man. He was on it. He bred into those kids the intangibles that the whole program is about.
Yeah.
I've heard it's similar to Boy Scouts. It's like pretty
Never
similar.
heard of it.
It's similar.
I didn't
but
hear about it until I was in the
it's all
Marines.
Marine Corps based. They have uniforms and
Yeah.
they wear woodlands and.
Do Marines go? Is that like a B billet thing? Not a B billet.
No.
They
I
have
think
no-
it's a
Marine Corps has
volunteer
nothing to
thing.
do
It's
with
like
it?
being a Boy Scout leader.
Yeah, it's the Marine Corps League started it as an anti-drug program. I think in the 70s.
Just say no, kids.
Yep.
Just say no, or I'll fucking smoke you.
Yep.
Fucking smoke.
I'll smoke your fucking
Side
ass.
shuttle hops to death.
Oh,
If you're not
man.
bleeding from your eyes, you didn't try hard enough.
Man.
There used to be a thing on the wall at the Horno pool that said if you're not floating face down in the water, you have quit. I was like, that is the greatest freaking saying ever.
I don't know.
Because you're in the pool, and if you're not floating face
you're not
down
dead
in the water,
yet.
you quit. And like that is freaking badass. I should get that tattooed.
It was funny. Cameron Langland came on and was talking about doing the recon like pull screener, and he's like, "Dude, you just can't drown a recon Marine." He's like, "We've done so much." And he's like, "They just do so much through the fucking screening process," and I'm like, "Dude, fuck that, dude. That just sounds miserable."
And I don't think that is healthy.
No, I think it's healthy. I think
It's gotta be.
it's probably not healthy to be one of the dudes that passes out. They have to
Cutting your
drag
brain
you
off
out.
of multiple times and cutting your brain of oxygen cannot be healthy.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
What do you mean? Think of that.
Yeah, you're right.
statement.
No,
Like,
you're right. You're right.
Is there a point where
I agree.
you get your,
But I think it makes you understand. For them, it's the training is not to like. It's also so you understand when you're about to go out.
Yeah,
Like
it probably pushes
I
them.
see it. I see it happening. Like
Yeah.
in a real world situation.
It's like
I
the pilots.
Yeah, I recognize what's happening.
The pilots know like to squinch their stomach or whatever it is they do. So
Yeah,
the G's
whatever
don't
it is.
take them
Yeah,
out.
the clinching thing that they do.
Yeah, that would make me puke. But yeah, drowning yourself, that's so scary to me. That's why I'm so against it. I'm like,
Dudes that get done with McQuist, you're like, wow, dude.
no way.
Are you a McQuist?
I was a WSQ. I guess that's the one below.
Oh, well
Before
then I don't want
McQuist
to hear
existed,
anything.
There was WSQ.
Gunny was our McQuist. Gunny
what
Easton.
it was, yeah.
He's
Gunny
a moto
Easton
dude.
let
It's
homie-
always the motards that
He
love
let
fucking
homie almost
McQuist.
drown, and I was dying. We were like, it was someone of the black dudes. It was Brown, I think.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, get him. And Gunny Easton was like, don't touch him. And we were like, Jesus Christ.
The human body is
Force
buoyant.
him.
It will float to the surface.
That's basically what he said. He's like, don't. And he started laughing at him. We were like, God. Oh, it was Thompson, Black Thompson.
Oh,
Remember
my God.
Thompson?
Oh, yeah.
He drove that
So
Dodge, whatever. Yeah.
God damn it.
It sounds fucked up to call out his race for people that may not know, so I just want to point it out.
Even black people in the Marine Corps know they can't swim.
I know, and it's crazy in boot camp how many. You know what it is? It's not access to pools. Which is weird. When I was a kid, I swam in lakes.
I've heard that there's a whole muscle density. You know,
I have no idea.
That black people have a more denser.
I don't know about that.
Muscle mass.
I think
on
it's
average. I'm talking.
Justin
on average.
says, I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
you know, I mean,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, they're
They're fitter.
muscle, so they're not as buoyant.
That
That's
probably.
why.
That may be harder for them to learn, but I think the accessibility of it is probably part of
Well,
it.
and I think,
But it's crazy though. You do go to boot camp, and it's like it's not a racist thing. It's just reality that the entire
But I think-
what do they call them? Iron ducks or whatever.
I think growing up, more white kids were out playing in lakes and shit. I think it's more of a ethical. Is that what I'm
I
trying
don't
to
know.
say?
That's
I
kind
don't know
of
if that's a word I'm
ethnic?
looking. Yeah, like it's like I don't know.
no, because
Yeah.
then you're
Redneck white
generalizing
kids
that
are out
way.
playing in lakes.
On
Yeah.
average, I've read this. I don't know how true it is, but black people.
We're gonna get a lot of hate
denser
mail for this.
Muscle mass, so they're not as buoyant, right? That's why they're freaking ripped.
Yeah,
you know?
no,
But then you gotta think. We've been mixing together for hundreds of years. So normally this was the saying when I was teaching. When I was.
What are you saying right now?
I don't
I'm
know.
listening.
So when I was a marksmanship instructor, we used to say, you know, if somebody's going unk, right? You're like, oh, God damn it. He's got to be from Chicago, left-handed, wears glasses.
Well, okay, I'm left-handed, so I'm slightly
these
offended
are the
by
things
this.
that made you, that were the average guy who went unk, no matter how hard you tried. I'd even cheat. I'd even say, I'd watch where his impacts were and be like, 10 clicks right, 4 clicks up. I'm moving his impacts from the lower left corner to the bullseye. I'm not adjusting his shooting anymore because you're not allowed, on qual day. You weren't allowed to go up there and coach them, so you had to stand back. They had to do it themselves. But
Yeah.
like, hey,
That's what we did. We did
10
iron
clicks
sights.
up, 10 clicks right, and I'd move their, and even those guys would fail. But anyways, yeah, it could be some of the combination thereof. But anyway, Thompson couldn't swim.
Yeah.
Easton let him.
Easton
From the
let
bottom of the
him
pool.
fucking drown, and Thompson was like,
Was he the only one?
I'm talking like legit. I think it was Thompson and Brown. No, two black guys.
Do you
anyway,
you see dudes get humbled at the pool when it's going to jump off that platform.
Humbled.
To jump off that platform, people are like, I'm not. I saw a dude at 10th Marines. He's like, I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not fucking doing it. And we're like, dude, you have to jump off of it.
But
But
man,
in
something
the
with me in water. I think I've just always been in water where it doesn't scare me. If it's somewhere I know that it's like I don't do.
I'll get a rush off of it.
I won't do cliff diving because I'm too afraid of what's under like rocks or like getting mangled by. That's just dumb to me. So I don't do that.
What if it's a
but if it's a
known
ladder where
spot?
I know like it's a human, like humans have made that, made it. I know I'm not going to die from that. Yeah, I'll do it.
I'd like
No,
to look it
if
up.
humans made, would you cliff jump?
I've never done it.
I
don't
used
think
to.
I ever would.
When I was in high school, we would
There's a
go
big
to
rock.
Monticello, Indiana, and there's a bridge there, an old railroad bridge. It's not used anymore. And we would climb on the
we used to do it too.
siding,
But
the
I
side,
wouldn't do
the
it.
what would you call it, the trestle of the bridge up to the top.
like the iron part of it.
Yeah, and jump off that. I went to the top, but I never climbed on top, like pushed myself up and stood on top.
I wouldn't.
I was so scared. I'd be at the top and I'd be like, push myself away.
And I'm really scared of heights.
They're like, get
too.
up here. And I'm like, dude, fuck this.
I'm
yeah.
deathly afraid of heights, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's nothing wrong with that. People are like, oh, you're afraid of heights? Dude, people die from high places.
Like,
I want to
often.
avoid that.
Yeah.
And not only that, you don't control gravity. You know gravity. If you fall, there's nothing you're gonna do.
Fear's a
there's
natural
one thing that's
reaction,
gonna
man.
happen. You will fall. There's no good.
That's like.
So why go up there? Why even fuck around with that up
It
there?
was fun.
Yeah, me and my oldest boy.
You never jumped off a
He was
bridge or
Marine.
anything?
Nope, nothing.
Have you jumped off a bridge or something before?
No, jumped off the tower.
Like fast roping wasn't terrible for me. For anything rappelling that we would do, I
No, I'm
hated
talking
it.
about into water, like a high spot into water.
No, I mean I'll do ladders and shit or man-made shit, but I can't. Maybe I would cliff jump. I don't
Would
know.
you ever jump off a high dive? Like
Yeah.
a real high, like a high dive, whatever the highest
I'd have
one
to.
is.
I'd have to be there, in the moment to really say if
What's
I
the-
would. I
no.
say I would now, but maybe if I got there, I would say fuck.
What is that,
no.
like 30 feet probably?
I don't know. Why did you jump off the tower?
Because I had to. I had no choice.
Because you had no choice and you didn't want to be a bitch.
Yeah.
So
What tower?
Yeah,
What are you
that's
talking about?
exactly. That's exactly
What
what.
You know what I
tower?
hate about the tower?
In like boot camp.
The rappelling tower? What was that?
I don't know.
Oh, man down, pimping.
You dropped something?
Oh, it's a remote. I guess the remote was sitting in
Oh.
this crack back here.
Hey,
So
technical
it's funny
difficulty.
because I talked with my oldest son. He was in the Marine Corps, and then I was in the Army before the Marine Corps, so I can talk to my youngest son about his Army experiences.
That's right, you were in the Army.
So we were talking about climbing the tower at Mateo, and it's like 2x6s.
The Stairway to Heaven thing, or like
It's to get to the pool tower.
Oh, okay.
So the pool tower is this old wooden tower. It's 30 feet high.
Oh,
It's
really?
2x6s, like bolted to the frame. Of
Yeah.
and you can get your fingers in there, and you get your tips of your boots in there, but it's wet because
That sounds super sketchy.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
already
like,
pissed off.
I was like, that's the worst part. We were talking about it. He's like, yeah, that was the worst part for me too. I'm like, yeah, the worst part wasn't. I didn't like heights. I didn't like jumping. But you're not gonna jump. You're not gonna not jump. I'm not gonna be a bitch.
You
Yeah.
have to do. Yeah, you had no
Yeah,
choice.
reality is my bitch, and I'm gonna make her that way. But climbing the freaking tower, you're like, this is not cool.
And-
if I slip, there's concrete right there.
That's the thing, and that's what gets me is where if I'm climbing something like, yeah, you have to do it or whatever. Obviously if they have it there, it's fine, but that's including everybody being a normal human. What happens if my finger just cramps
Yeah.
or something
Dude.
nuts
Oh, the dude
and my
above me
hand
gets
slips?
freaked
I'm
out.
eating shit.
So in boot camp, right? In boot camp, I think it's the first time when I went through that you see the females was when you go to the pool, right? They have them
We
like
didn't
all
have
on
females
one.
'cause
No, we only saw the females when they came from Paris Island.
Yeah, we went to the man
Don't.
MCR.
So anyway, listen here.
I got you.
So we have them on one side of the stadium seating and us on the other side, right? And they're going to have the females file down and jump off first and do their pull part first. But, you sit there and you watch, how to do it. Hey, this is what you're going to fucking do. Like, all that shit. So then the females start lining up. And, like, the second or third one, dude, she's going up the stairs. And then, like, the little ladder to the dive and slips.
See? Nope.
Falls back and her foot hooks on the
Oh.
fucking ladder. So she's hanging from the top
What?
by her ankle, was like wham, and then tumbles off of it and smashes into the ground. I'm like,
That makes me want to throw
holy
up.
shit. And then it was like, all right, welcome to the fucking pool. Like, here we go, dude.
Holy shit.
Welcome
That
to
was
the
like your
shit.
introduction?
Yeah.
No. That's like when we did OC spray in
You're like, dude, I'm
Okinawa.
going to fucking drown in this pool with all this gear on because you see all this gear you got to wear.
We did OC spray, and they're like, who wants to sign up? And I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. It's like joining boot camp, right? Who wants to join? You do, and then when you get off the bus, it's real.
Oh, yeah.
So
when
I
it's
do
real.
I do the OC spray.
When
we
Tracy Offutt comes at you.
yeah, we get there, and we're like getting the training for it or whatever. I'm like, this is gonna be like dumb, like whatever. Man, so I should have known because the one of the girls in my platoon, in the comm platoon, when she saw me sign up for it, she was like, "You're gonna regret that," and I'm like, "Whatever, like I can do.
Hold on, what'd you sign up
I can
for?
do any for OC spray."
Oh, OC spray.
And I was like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can do that. And she's like, don't do it, man. She's like, I'm dead ass serious. And this is a sergeant telling me this as a Lance Corporal. First time she's ever like taught. She's like, don't do it, man.
See, chicks have hearts.
And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shit.
They're like,
so
look,
anyway,
man, me, I'd be like, yeah, do it, man.
Yeah.
Get your buddies to come.
I'm like, I can do it.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't
Come on,
even sweat it, bro.
bring
It's
some
nothing.
friends.
They
bring
have free dominoes.
And so I get there, we do the training, and all of a sudden I'm second in line. So I'm third in line.
So you get to see-
Martinez is, and then this super jacked dude in front of me, one of my buddies is, and then it's me. Chilson, my buddy who's in front of me, he's the one who slipped a disc in a hooker's back because he fucked her so hard. He used to take pre-workout with vodka.
can't remember what
He'd
episode that's
hammered, and
from.
He would go to the gym. Yeah. I talked to him on
That
one
might be
last
episode 12 that first one where we all do
he
one
got
together.
hammered, and he would go to the gym, and he was like 10% body fat, probably 250 pounds of muscle. Anyway, so he's in front of me. Martinez goes, and she's like crying, but and I'm like, whatever. She's being a girl, just whatever.
Yeah.
Chilson goes, gets sprayed in the eyes, and drops to the ground the second he gets sprayed in the eyes. It had to have been. It was Chilson, and I'm talking in the ground, fetal position. No, it was it was either Rydell or Chilson. Either way, big ass dude hits the ground, goes in the fetal position, and I'm like, no, that's my reality.
Dude, I've heard it's the worst.
And like I turn white, and I'm like, oh man, dude, no way. If he can't do it, what the fuck am I gonna do? Dude, they hit me with that, and it's like my eyes. So they hit you with it right above it, or no, you have to close your eyes, and they do a swipe across your face.
Yeah.
And it feels like a squirt gun across your face. So it's like, and you open your eyes, and like, all right, blink your eyes. And the first two, you're like, this isn't nothing. And within a fraction of a second, your eyes get concrete shut. Like you physically, if you want to open it, you have to use your hands to open it because your muscles will,
my God, man.
It's a pain that you can't really describe. It's, I'm not kidding you. By the end of it, if you would have gave me a pistol, I'm not even joking.
You're the second person that's told me that.
So
Gunnery Sergeant Marbit at 10th Marines is like, literally, he's like, you want to die. He's like, if I had a gun, I would probably kill myself in the moment. And he's like, and then it hits you again on your way home when you start sweating or whatever.
So I go into it, and you have to do the obstacle course. So I'm having to like subdue the guy, having to put handcuffs on him and shit.
Do the
and if you drop your baton, they launch that thing, and you got to go find it. Luckily, I didn't lose mine, but Martinez lost hers, and it was fucking hilarious. But that was before I went. Yeah. So once I get done with the obstacle course, you have the chance that you wash it. They put Dawn dish soap in your hands, and you get to wash it off, and they'll spray the hose on your face. And there's a huge ass old antique metal fan that you can stand in front of. But it's so bad that I opened up my eyeballs, and I took Dawn dish soap to my eyeball.
Oh my God!
I'm not
dude.
fucking like
that cannot be.
And that made it
healthy.
Feel better. That's the thing.
Yeah,
so then she sprays me down.
I've never been hit with it.
Yeah, because the Dawn dish soap like sucks. It like actually takes the oil with it.
Yeah.
So then I go up to the fan, and you put your hand on the fan, and it's chipping off the rust off the back of it and smacking you in the fucking face. And
don't touch the fan, bro.
So and I'm talking like half an hour,
some
45
minutes
for 20
of
like
minutes,
constant pure pain, like just fucking pain. And after a kind of while, you can see a little bit, and you're like, all right. And then you still see people doing it, and your whole perspective has changed. It's like, dude, I want to tell everybody in that line, like, get the fuck out of here while you can.
Yeah.
And then you go and you take, but dude, my eyes, I don't fuck with my eyes anymore. I'm very conscious about my eyesight. Like, my dad makes fun of me because I'll put a pair of safety glasses on before I like use my skill saw or something. He's like, you don't need those things.
Yes, you
I'm
do.
like, dude,
Man.
I love my eyeballs.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
So
only
anyway,
have two of them, and
he's
it's
like,
being blind.
I know that from being a mechanic.
he's like, so anyway, so I'm watching him get it done, and I'm like, dude, this sucks. It sucks. It kind of goes away a little bit, but it's still there, definitely. And I go home and I take a shower, and you're supposed to wear your underwear when you take a shower because you don't, that oil, they're going to reactivate. And I did that. I wore my underwear, but still it like soaked into my underwear, and like my dick burned.
Yes. And
for hours.
Yes.
And if anything touched water that you had sprayed, it will reactivate it. Not 100%, but you're talking like 60, 70%.
How long do you think before you were completely like
24 hours.
Yeah.
24 to 30, a day to a day and a half where I was like zero, nothing. My eyes aren't saggy. Because for a while there, I'm going to say a half a day you're burning. And then it's going away, and then you just have that saggy kind of like your eyes are just in like refurbish mode where they're like
this on accident.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say a day and a half where you're like you never even know you did it. But until if you were to give me it'd take $10,000 for you to be able to do that to me. And that's bare minimum. I mean, I'd even think about that.
Now, I mean, we called it the bitch maker because it would like turn everybody into a bitch. What was funny, man?
People always volunteer for shit like that, though.
Oh, it was awesome. We did it as a company.
Like getting tased.
That was me.
People always volunteer to get tased.
And
like,
they wanted me to get
tased
tased after that. And I was like, nope. Now I know what real pain. No, I know what real pain is.
No, but it's just one. It's an and I got tased.
Yeah.
So I know I can get through it. So that's why, like, I lost my baton fighting the red man.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
So we're in Okinawa, same thing. You know, I'm the second one to go. So I was the first on it. So the CO went, then I had to go. and it's all sweaty, and I'm fighting the red man, before you go do the different things. Blind as shit, and it flies out of my hand. So I know they're going to get it and throw it. So what do? You tackle the red man. So I grab that dude head and arm bar, take him to the ground, and just start pommeling the red man. Because I can't see, but I know they're going to say, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Go to the next station.
Yeah.
Because you're just fucking up the whole plan. And your first round, you can get away with some shit.
Look at you thinking outside the box.
So, yeah, we get done. And I was talking to Company Gunny because he went after me, right? And this dude, Ogle, right? Super stoic. Nothing affects him. Oh, look, Jones just got his head blown off. Sucks for Jones. Continue forward. He's that guy. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? I had taken yogurt, put it in my ass pack so you could rub it in your eyes. Yogurt does kind of the same thing, cools it. You want some yogurt? He goes, his eyes are locked shut. Like, you're talking about the muscle?
Just that
like,
concrete.
I'm not talking to you right now. And he walks away. And I'm like, oh, this shit's awesome. It's just,
It's
I love
so
it.
real.
Anything you do where you're ending up with yogurt. Hey, you want some yogurt to rub in your eyes to make it feel better?
Well, that's what's funny is I said, how did
funny.
How'd it go for you? Because you can't see the guy behind you. And he goes, look, I saw you lose your baton. I knew all I had to do was better than that. And I was like, fuck you, dude.
Are you glad you did it though?
No.
Yes.
I mean, yes and no. So yes, because I'm glad. It's good. It's good to say
It's a life experience, right?
No, because I mean, if you spray that thing within less than 6 foot of you, I believe you can actually damage your eyes from it because it has like tiny microscopic pieces of that. And I'm thinking like some staff sergeant he was kind of a douche, like not a douche, kind of a losery. Like, who the fuck is he? Like he did stand 6 feet away, but does he really know how to use that thing?
Yeah.
I could have really damaged my eyeballs doing that.
Yeah.
Now that I have an appreciation for them.
When you get maced by the cops, you can survive it.
Right, and that's on ship. The recon guys got all hammered and went in the armory. Hunter was with me. Remember Jeff Hunter?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
He was with me. They were on ship. The recon guys got on ship and they got the mace out, or not the mace, the OC spray.
Yeah.
All hammered after Libo. One dude's gonna hit the other guy in the head with the chair, and the other guy's threatening him to OC spray him. And Jeff and I are in the bunks, the bottom bunks, right next to that.
Yes.
And this was months after I got it done, and I was so scared.
Like, dude, if you set that off, you're
I'm
fucking.
like, you don't understand.
Everybody.
Like that's going through vents. That's gonna
go.
I'm like,
all over.
homie, you can't do this. This cannot
They'll put you in the brig.
Yeah. It didn't end up happening, thank God.
Maybe not. But
Yeah, no, you'd get in some serious
I never saw anybody get put in the brig on ship.
We accidentally shot it in Okinawa. You got the training one.
Yeah.
And so we had a platoon they were playing the protesters.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other Marines, like Fuller Company or whatever, they were the security and they were.
When you're doing your riot control training or whatever.
Our guys, and then it was our guys' turn to be the riot control guys for another unit. So they don't have you do the same unit you just did because Marines always take everything over the top. So the rioters throw rocks at the guys.
I would say, aren't they out there like beating the fuck out of each other?
Yeah. So you go to the other one, right? Well, somebody had fucked up and didn't use the training OC, but the actual OC from the riot control kits. So when you say, hey, go to the Connex box, get the riot control kits off the ship, they cut the band on the actual shit instead of using the blue.
Isn't that like a ASP kind of thing though?
Yeah.
Wait, under real
ammunition
protesters
supply?
or no?
No, these were
No,
other
okay.
Marines
Training.
like, pretending
I
to
thought you
be
were talking about
protesters.
okay.
Yeah, and so they shot them with the
It's like giving
OC.
them live ammo
Yeah,
instead of
it
blue
was
rounds
bad, man.
or
We were
blanks.
like, we're all going to jail. You don't even have to be in the same unit that was involved. You just have to be the next unit next to them. You're going to jail too.
Once they started spraying, did they keep spraying? We're like, fuck
I think
them.
they realized it as soon as the first group. I wasn't there when they did it.
Imagine being in that group, not even knowing.
Other end of the investigation.
They're not even prepared to receive you. Like, there's not dudes with trash bags or trash cans full of water or whatever.
Yeah, no, they just like. But as soon as that
You're
first
just
group
fucked.
goes down, they're done throwing rocks and acting stupid.
They're like, hey, it works though.
Yeah.
Training point, gentlemen. Let's get a silver lining.
What's the positive we can get out? What if the opposite were true? What if
It
we
works.
had not done that? You guys would have kept throwing rocks, right?
Yeah.
Feel like now you know it works.
What if it didn't work and they were like, shit?
Yeah.
Well, now you have
Or go
faith
like
in your
that,
gear.
like this fire extinguisher that lost its.
Yeah.
Oh crap!
That'd be the worst
Lacey
thing
did
ever.
OC2 and she did it on ship.
Oh,
They did
really?
session on ship.
That would suck because you don't have the You
and
can't
she
stand
said
in
it
the
was
shower for
terrible.
an hour.
Yeah, she was like, God, it was like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
That stuff is
No.
violent, man. That stuff is.
I'm glad I
reckless.
never did it.
I'm glad I never got tased though. I mean, getting tased
Dude,
looks terrible.
Why did people volunteer to get tased?
I don't like electricity. I
I
don't
don't
like fucking
get
with
it.
electricity, so
Yeah.
I don't. That's like a big.
Somebody
no-no for
posted
me.
a video of some dude being electrified in like a
on
a
a tower.
light pole
falls
the
off the
other
tower.
I
day.
saw that.
I was like, why the fuck would you post that,
Just
dude?
getting cooked.
Dude, and like I remember going to the Marine East and Marine West expos. You know where they bring all the gear and they're
Yeah.
like showcasing all the stuff.
You want a coin?
There's
Let me
all
tase you?
there's always a dude there, a dude with tasers, and they're just like, hey, who wants to volunteer? And if you just stand there, every 5 minutes a new group of like lance corporals comes around the corner and they're like, come on, man, you do it, no, you do it, and someone always volunteers.
Oh yeah.
And fucking, you just watch dudes get tased. It's hilarious to watch. I would never do it.
Have you gotten tased?
I got tased, but not that kind of, not that level.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like the ones where they
Get tased in real life?
yeah, they hit you, like psh, and then-
Oh,
The little
I got
gun.
tased by those at Sear B or whatever I did.
yeah, not the ones where they
were
hold
knives.
you and then they tase you and
Oh.
you're gonna collapse because your legs.
You're talking about the training knives.
So mine were training knives, but if you got touched by the cutting portion of an actual knife, it would shock the shit out of you.
Oh, no kidding.
Not taser,
Yeah.
probably not taser gun status, but I would say regular taser status.
It's like a martial arts training device, so you know when you're getting cut.
so they would
So
cut
it's
like
like
the back
training.
of our legs.
Like something that makes you like jump back.
Imagine getting tased by like a bzzz, but like a pretty hard shock to where you almost can't even jump back.
Can
It,
you
like,
hear it
sticks you.
crackling?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh,
how
that's
you
the
know it.
worst.
So they put the potato sacks over us and they'd throw the water on us and then they'd walk by and tase us. So you didn't even have, and then you had the water, so the water made you feel like you were getting tased more and like,
Oh, and
What?
and you didn't know
When
what
did you
coming
do
'cause you had
this?
the sack over your head.
yeah, 2000, and when I went to joint advisors course. We
Oh,
did the
really?
Sear B for like 3 weeks or something like that.
Huh.
So we learned
Nice.
how to like pick out of cuffs, and we did a day where we were actually out in the town in civilian clothes. We had to find out who was following us, and it was actually really good training. A lot of good training. We did. I used to know how to pick out of 3 different handcuffs. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then actually, I carried a key in my wallet up until probably a month ago that I got from that course.
Oh,
Literally,
really?
probably 3 weeks ago, I finally just took it out.
It's like when you see that, you're like, what am I gonna do with this key?
Actually, it might even be in my wallet. I don't even know where my wallet. It might be in my car. Anyway, but it was really good training. But Sear was pretty wild, man. I did a Sear B, which was like a Sear modified, so it wasn't like the full month, but they packed the month into like 3 weeks or something like that. So we didn't do the whole run. We did a day of actual like getting fucked up, like a whole scenario day.
Yeah.
So we were in a classroom. I probably can't even talk about it. I don't know if I can talk
Yeah,
about
you're
it.
probably not supposed to talk
Yeah,
about it.
so, but
Yeah, don't give the secret away.
it was pretty
I know what you're
wild.
talking about.
It was intense enough to where you're like, I get that it's training, but fuck, this is training.
Do you ask yourself, why did I do this to myself?
That's like a boot camp experience. When they hit it, you didn't know it was gonna happen. They hit you with it. It was a very like, fuck, because right away you wanna, because you're literally just been training, and then all of a sudden it happens, and you're like, and it was pretty surreal. Like the handling of you and it was pretty surreal. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Huh.
It's got to be good for your mental strength and your ability to do
Absolutely.
more.
Unless you're already on the edge,
Unless you're already
then you're
psycho.
fucked.
There was.
Did
there
you
was
see
words
anybody?
you could use.
Was there anybody there you looked at them a little different afterwards? You're like, dude, this guy
Absolutely,
fucked
because
this
there was
dude.
questions that were asked that you could do certain things with and get out of, and some people are were like, okay,
Got
okay,
it.
that's how I feel.
I wonder
It was-
S2s over there taking notes.
But
Like,
also,
okay,
it was really
motherfucker.
cool because one of the scenarios, not during the steer portion, one of the scenarios was you learn how to get into bar fights and stuff. So they would put you in a bunch of different there was a bunch of rooms, and me, Hitchens, Billups, we were all in a team, and we were in civilian clothes, acting like we were in a bar in a certain scenario we were already briefed on. And there was going to be some sort of altercation in there. You needed to learn how to either fight or flight or whatever. And you had like a padded helmet on, gloves, but like the finger gloves. So and you had like a chest pad on, but you had like civilian clothes. It was very minimal padding, but it was still definitely there.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like hanging out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The music starts, you're acting like you're in one of the scenes was we were in like a bar club thing. And guys start getting into a fight, and you have to determine whether you should fight or flight. And that was pretty cool because you're learning
What was the
great,
purpose of that,
great
though?
purpose skills because you're learning how to be in foreign countries and advise in foreign countries. You're learning people are going to be following you. People are going to think you're American.
So it's
People
more like reading
You got to
in
be
a
able to
room.
protect yourself. And they did hostage situations where we acted like they took us as hostages, and we had to learn how to, whether you're in a foreign national or if you're a, I can't remember now, but all sorts of different terms. And they did a whole foreign weapons week where we got to shoot all these different weapons and take them apart, and like the Dragunov, the AK-47, a bunch of different handguns. And you have to,
that's fun. Foreign weapons handling is fun.
Actually, that whole course was difficult. Like, it wasn't crazy difficult, but it was super good. If every Marine got that training, you'd have great Marines.
Yeah.
I mean, we already do have great Marines.
It's the one in Virginia, right?
Like the steps to determine whether you should participate or leave. You know, say in the bar fight, how did you? Were there steps like, hey, you look for these 3 scenarios, or is that your guy, or is that just some couple? Hey, let you guys fight, do your thing.
So the steps in determining whether you should fight or flight, you mean?
Yeah.
It was like so certain scenarios were like if they would altercate with you, or the fight wouldn't break out, someone would come say something to you, and you'd have to determine whether you should stand your ground or you should back down, kind of deal. Like, say if a guy came over and was like, "You were talking to my girlfriend," like, what are you gonna say? And then, where are your friends at? Do you know where everybody else is at? Like, kind of.
Right.
It just, you do classes on it, and then they would put you in this scenario. It was kind of, it could have been better done, honestly. Right. It was, some of it was kind of thrown together, but then some of it was like, okay, that was pretty cool. Like, we got to learn how to shoot out of cars. They did a defensive driving course. We didn't get to do that one. The guys before us did. They got to do a week of shooting through windows and driving cars in a tactical driving car class where you're in like a Crown Vic doing 50, and you got to do like a 180 real fast and stuff like that.
That's well, that's what my buddy Franks did. When he was a general's driver, he had to go to the school. It's like you drive on a racetrack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one day we're in downtown San Diego off of Rosecrans, and we're going. He's got like a little Dodge Neon, right? And we're going down the street, and there was a '61 Cadillac in the parking lot, and I'm like, "Oh, check out that Cadillac. Let's go see it." Well, we had already passed the turn, so he does the whole, Liam Neeson thing to oncoming
power
traffic.
Slides it around,
and then he goes boom to this side of the road, and then he's in the correct lane, and then he turns where you're not supposed to turn. You're not supposed to turn left there. He turns and ends up in the parking lot where this car is, and I'm like, fuck, dude. He goes, but he learned it in that school you were talking about. It reminded me of it. I was like,
it was very good, like general skills of being into an alpha, just producing your alpha type of.
Yeah, putting off a don't fuck with me.
Yeah, and not only that, being able to, while you're just driving, doing your thing, being able to like subconsciously pick up on, not subconsciously, but being able to do it and not be detected that you're doing it. Like, oh, you see a guy on the side of the road, just take note of what he looks like.
Yeah, you become more aware.
Yeah,
you just become more aware of your surroundings.
Situational awareness is all it was. Plus some skills.
I guess I kind of like take it for granted. The situational awareness and stuff like that. Absolutely. The little things that you pick up on. We make fun of, like, you're like, oh, it was really cheesy, blah, blah, blah. But, like, what regular dude has even had an opportunity to have a fake fight to see if he's even ready to have a real fight?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, his first opportunity is a real fight with some other fucking dude.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're in martial arts or something like that, that's like just one of the many things that you get to do.
Yeah.
It just interpersonal violence, just being able to do, because you obviously want to avoid that when you can, but knowing that you can.
Yeah, you'd rather have the power to than not have to use it than have to use it and not have the power to.
I'll survive. That's why a lot of people don't fight.
Did you ever know anyone that got into hand-to-hand combat?
Not in combat.
No. I mean, there's been some pretty like well-known ones. That there was that corporal in Afghanistan that his saw jammed. He was like a fire team leader. Then he got the other dude's AK from him and beat him to death. Yeah, like that dude.
That's why it's so like late. Like if I'm in a bar and I just kind of feel, or if we're out to a restaurant or something, I just kind of feel like, say maybe a guy just comes in and just looks suspect. I'll run through like 3 scenarios in my head of what I would do if I had to kill him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know that.
You don't.
I know what you're saying. I definitely pick up on people. You're like, this dude, I'm keeping an eye on this guy.
You've never like seen a guy that like, say he looks at Lacey or something. He like confront, like anything happens to where I can tell that he's attracted to her, right? Or he wants to talk to her. Something, say anything weird's kind of happening, and she's just not having it. Or we don't even go out to bars like that. But just say like just a weird guy in general, right?
This is BC.
I'll go through things where I'm like, okay, I got a plate right here. I got a knife right here. I could take that knife and I'll stab him, and then I'll have, you know what I'm saying? I'll run through that, and I'll tell her that, and she's like, no way, that's what you think about? And I'm like, not all the time, but there are definitely times where I'm like, I'll walk into a room and I'm like, okay, if I have to kill everybody in here, this is
Why
how I
would
would
you
do it
ever
before they
think that
kill.
though?
You don't ever think that that's.
I think
good to
about
kinda-
like, hey, here's a weapon, or
Do you
here's
think
this,
of
but
that?
I don't think about
I
like
don't
I'll.
think if I have to kill everyone in the room.
I don't mean
but
realistically
I am,
everybody in the
because
room.
I am going to kill everyone in the room because who can keep a secret if one is dead? So, you know.
Exactly.
But you know what
You're
I
just
do
a madman.
Is similar. Is I'm always looking for, okay, that's the only way in and out. Where's the next exit? Is there an exit from the kitchen?
I definitely look for exits.
You know, I look for exits. I look for. I always go the opposite of the traffic pattern. So if everybody walks into say a bar or a restaurant, and the natural traffic pattern, the natural flow of people is to go this way, I always go the other way.
Yeah.
And I purposely do whatever I don't. It's like you're pulling into the parking lot at Costco.
Yeah.
Everybody goes in and they go to the right to get closer to the store. Well, now you're gonna. All the retards are on the right trying to find a park space.
How often do you
I'm
make?
going left.
How often do you make eye contact with people?
I used to do it a lot more.
I think it fucks people up when you make eye contact with
I
them.
do
When you're
agree with
willingly
that.
like when you walk into a restaurant, you're walking to your seat, but you're like walking around looking at people.
Yeah.
Like if he looks at you, you're like, "What's up?" What's
Yeah,
up? What's up?
yeah,
Not
yeah.
like in
I
a
say-
douche, not in a douchey way, but
I
like
say hello to everybody.
everyone looks down now. Like you see all these people that just look down when they're walking. It's
Oh.
weird.
I was going to ask you about this. Let me tell you this, then I got a question for you. So, I go to the Palomar. This is a couple years ago. I go to Palomar to do the school thing, right?
Yeah.
Fucking parade of morons.
In college.
Just a parade of morons. People with their face in their phones, standing in the doorway.
Yeah.
You know, just this. So
Or
that's why I took my classes on base, because at least I'm with Lance Corporals and, you know, people like that. That are
yeah,
freaking
but
have a
I think
brain.
you're missing out though.
I don't know, man. I couldn't take it. I was.
You got to come out in the real world,
I'm
man.
like-
He doesn't.
You gotta
That's the thing. He doesn't have to though. He
cut
can
off
do
the
whatever he
teat.
wants.
Yeah,
cut off the
I-
teat
that's-
of
He
the
can
Marine
do
Corps.
whatever he wants. He can
Every day
continue.
is-
That's how
every
day
day
dies.
is-
and there's-
Retiree, man.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's not. The
Don't
way
be
I would
afraid
do
of
it,
hanging
but-
out with regular people, though.
Why
No,
even
I-
be? I think he's just. That's just the way he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. You know, this whole social
You're
distancing,
indoctrinated.
stay home thing. My life didn't change at all. You know?
Yeah.
No, I don't. You know, why would I talk to people? They're stupid. But anyways, so I
They're
go
good.
to the college and I'm like, you're in the freaking doorway, you retard. You're in your phone in the doorway. You are in the lane of traffic. Don't be the stupidest person in the world. But I'm being nice. I'm like, hey, excuse me. But now I do it kind of dickish. You know, hey, excuse me. I used to be like, hey, excuse me, could you move, please? And people are like, so then they take that as a weakness. So you kind of be a dick a little bit.
I feel like
the people that go down the center of the aisle at the grocery store at Walmart with their cart.
Yeah.
You realize that other people are also trafficking here.
Oh, I agree with all of that, but I think that it also comes with age because I feel like now that I'm older, I have less tolerance for customer service, like for bad customer service.
Yeah, your expectations are set higher.
I don't know if that's military or
You're
what
just
it
getting
is.
old, man.
I think that it's just that
Yeah.
I'm
That's
getting
all it
old.
is.
I
Well, no,
really
but
think
you
that's what
do-
it is.
You know that people can do better.
Well, yeah.
You know, I
Anywhere I take my car, anything, there's always something fucked up with something, and I'm like,
are you
am I
incapable-
paying you for you? Like the one guy I went to, his name was Pro Custom Paint. He fucked up my paint on my bumper. Your name says Professional Customized Paint Job. That is not what I received.
Yeah.
And why would I expect anything less than a professional custom paint job?
Yes. And-
If your name was Mediocre Paint Job, I just wouldn't come to you.
Yeah.
Or I would know. If I'm going to go to Earl Shives, I know I'm going to have some
Exactly.
runs in my paint. Yes.
Exactly.
So that's my problem. It's not that. It's that I know they can do better, and maybe there is some military in there because you're always telling people, you know, hey, this is not the limit to you. You are better than this.
Somebody's got to be the grumpy
Yeah.
old dick, man. You're it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
But I'm not.
someone
I'm
has
just-
to be the person to be like, hey, get the fuck out of the way, dude.
No.
Dude, if I was any more chill, I'd have fucking dreadlocks.
I've never really had that. I've never really had issues like that. Honestly,
No?
I've had pretty good
Like in colleges, you mean?
pretty good interactions with most people in school, for the most part.
I've
There's
been
been I've met the extreme leftist, you know, that's like,
Yeah, that's. I can't
excuse
stand
me,
those people either.
excuse me.
Jimmy
Like-
showed me an email he got from one of his professors, and in the bottom it said pronouns him,
Oh yeah,
or something like
that's
that.
a new thing. You're gonna start seeing that more and more.
Oh no, I'm not.
You're gonna start seeing that in the corporate setting. Like if you're a corporate person and stuff like that, that's the next reality. If you're an HR,
Do people realize how dumb that is?
well, yeah, because it's like, you know, less than 1% of the people doing that
Yeah.
don't
for millions of
Even
years,
care.
It's not common sense. It's not like, oh yeah,
for millions of years, people have known what
you're a he.
what's going on. You know, and there's a few people that are, you know, effeminate or whatever. That's cool. Do your thing.
I'm all about respect it, but don't
put
put
else. But anyway, so my question was, so when I went to do the GI Bill this time, it was like 4 months ago or whatever, right when this shit first started, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're like, hey, if you already signed up for a class and it got turned into an online class, you're still going to get your BAH.
Yeah.
But now that everything's shut down and it's time for the next generation of classes, have they caught up? And they're like, okay, you take your next classes. We know they're going to be online, but we're still going to pay you as if you were attending the.
My understanding is that's what they're doing.
There's
Is you're
a
not
pay
going to get a
difference
cut in your
between
BAH.
There's a pay difference between online and in.
Yeah. So if you're full time, to get to BAH, you have to be a full time student. So you have to have at least 12 credit hours, meaning you're taking at least 4 classes. Generally, is what that
or
is.
doing fast track.
Yeah. So you're taking 4 classes. If you take a certain amount of those online, I think it's if you take a majority online, then your BAH gets cut down to half of the national average, which goes way down, especially here in San Diego, California.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you have to attend I don't know what the rule is now. When I was doing it,
Yeah.
it was one class had to be on deck in the classroom.
That might
And
be
the
what
rest
it
could
is.
be online.
I-
And the expectation
well, no, I
was
think
the
they
people that were taking
changed it.
online were working during the day. That's why they were taking it online.
I think they changed it to where you have to take more than one class in person. I think
Really?
and you also have to use the school zip code for your BAH, which I guess that screwed over some people. Not screwed them over. It's just it is what it is.
Well, no, and you have to think about it. Like, it's a $300 difference, and you know, to somebody who got out and that's what they're doing, using the GI Bill to pay their way. That was my concern. Like, hey, for me, I have my retirement, and then I'm doing the GI Bill when I was doing it. But for the guy who that was his plan, was to live off the GI Bill for 3 years.
Well, that's
until he got his degree and then he got a job.
That's a bad plan, and I think that's a plan that a lot of people push to don't do.
Yeah, no, that's a bad plan, but I'm just...
I had one of the first videos I did, one of the first video podcasts I did was the VA certifying official at San Diego State University, and he talks a lot about the schooling and stuff like that. So that's a really good episode for people that are interested in college and stuff like that. But even he says, like, do not like rely on the BAH from that, because honestly, it fluctuates.
Right.
It's prorated. Yeah, it's prorated. If there's like a, December is prorated, you get half the month, sometimes half the month off for the holidays. Yeah. I didn't start school back until the end of January. So if I didn't have money coming in from December to January, like, what am I doing? Right.
So what do you do on top to make the difference?
My website, jkramergraphics.com. Check it out. What?
Oh, see?
jkramergraphics.com. Buy a sticker. Buy a t-shirt.
Still running during COVID.
It is still going. It's been
Are we getting any COVID discounts, please?
No, dude, because printers are shutting down.
Fuck.
I had to shift printing to different locations. So it's temporarily shut down, so a different printing company will pick up the order. But yeah, it's caused delays because now there's fewer companies fulfilling all the orders.
Right.
So it causes some delays.
I was watching, I was listening to, there was a shortage of yeast for making bread.
Yeah. Lacey and I wanted to make try to make bread.
Not because there's a shortage of yeast, but there's a shortage of the bottles that it's put in, because they're from a factory in India, which is closed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, fuck, I didn't know that.
So the guy is doing the interview on the company, right? And he's like, okay, well, we can put it in something else and still ship it to the grocery stores. But you can't, because there's a federal regulation that says once you've been assigned this type of 1.7 ounce bottle, then in order to change to a 1.7 ounce paper bag, you have to go through this process, and there's all this red tape. And it was kind of like one of those John Stossel, what the government can't do right type of things.
John Stossel, yeah. That's old school. He's a libertarian journalist.
Yeah. And he started out the opposite, right? When he started out, he was like, why doesn't the government take care of this?
Was he Republican or Democrat?
He was a Democrat.
So he's a Democrat then.
A total lefty when
really?
he started. Yeah.
So he's very libertarian.
So what his original process was to go out and interview why the government doesn't take care of this and that and the other, and then he discovered how jacked up it was, and he
does like
reverted to the
investigative
libertarian side.
reporting on government like overreach.
Well, it's
He's
like
he's a really good journalist.
It's like his house. His house was flooded twice, and because of the federal flood insurance, his house has been replaced at the taxpayer's expense. Even though, after the first time your house gets knocked down by a flood, you might be like, "Oh, dude, this place has floods.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move, or I'm gonna build my house."
Okay.
You know, I can understand the farmer that's like, "Hey, this is my grandfather's house. I've been here my entire life. It's 5 generations. I'm going to build a levee or something." But this guy just lives off of Rhode Island on the beach,
Yeah.
and it gets
Every 10 years it gets fucking destroyed.
yeah, and then, so
there's a lot of houses like that.
That sounds
Yeah.
terrible.
it's a total.
That's that's anyone on the East Coast. Hurricanes coming through.
I don't understand that. I don't get it. I always think about that because they're like, move to Florida, it's so cheap. And I'm like, dude, you're almost bound to get fucked up by some sort of storm, like really badly.
Could you
fucked
imagine
up.
just waiting like, oh shit, there's a class 4 or whatever they are.
How do insurance companies stay alive for that?
I bet insurance rates are way high for
Yeah, it's probably
hurricane coverage.
for the places that have that. But if you did the opposite, like the Japanese, they have a really good system. They take care of their people, but they have a different type of society, and everybody's kind of stands in line and stuff. But they have typhoons on Oki all the time,
Yeah.
and they have wooden houses, but they have a system, and they have the concrete and stuff. They're like, dude, if your house gets knocked down, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So
Oh, God,
don't
I'd
let
be
your house
scared
get
of that.
knocked down. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to not let my house get knocked down. And it's not the government's responsibility to replace your home because you're too stupid to...
I always wonder. I mean, something bad
Well,
has to happen to California.
Part of the problem too is that not only is the government, I don't know, the government puts a lot of regulations in too that makes it harder to even replace your home.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Imagine new construction out here in Southern California with
Look
the ridiculous regulations and codes you'd have to know or
Think
be
about
involved in.
The
Yeah, but I think a lot of
sidewalk
those are for a
situation here
reason.
In San Diego.
The what?
Well, in the city of San Diego, the homeowner is responsible, can be sued if someone trips and falls and hurts himself on the sidewalk in front of your house.
That sounds about right. That
But
sounds
the
like something
sidewalk
California
belongs
would
to
do.
the city, right?
There's some
So-
pretty shitty sidewalks out
So
here.
in order to
Fuck
get...
yeah, there is.
In order for me as a homeowner to fix a sidewalk in front of my house, not in Oceanside, it's different, but in San Diego, I don't know if they've changed it yet, but in order for a homeowner in San Diego to fix a sidewalk in front of their house, they have to get a permit from the city, who owns the sidewalk, but it's kind of co-ownership, right? Both
Yeah,
can get
I
sued.
know what you're talking about.
So they have to pay the city $1,000 for a permit, then pay for the fixing of the sidewalk
Mm-hmm.
in front of their house that belongs to the city, co-ownership, right? Both the
That's
dude,
how
figure
the-
it out. Is it yours or mine?
Yeah.
If it's mine, then I pay you for the permit. I fix it. If it's yours,
Then fucking fix it.
then you fix it. But why do I pay you for the permit to fix what is yours in
Yeah.
front of my house? Because we both can get sued.
You know what's
City.
crazy
Yeah.
is down the road here, over here in North Park, one of the main roads there is 2 lanes, and they're taking out a lane to put in a bike lane, and they're taking out all the parking, all the street parking down
I'm
there.
telling you, the parking here. I'm not saying it to just mess with you.
It is the worst.
It's top 5 I've experienced in San Diego area.
I'm glad I have my own
places
parking spot.
places that I frequent. It's top 3.
There's
places I
0
frequent.
street parking here,
and I'm like none.
like blocks, like
It's-
3
it's-
blocks.
The only other place I've experienced this is when we went to the Noodle House. You've been there with us, right?
OB
Lacey?
Noodle House.
Not the OB one. The one that's like in North Park. I think it's in North Park. It's closer. It's called like the Nudes House or.
Oh, I've never been.
Anyway, that place is the same. Like blocks and blocks, like square blocks of not a single spot.
Yeah.
One night we went to dinner and it took us 25 minutes to find a spot. That's almost
and
a
then
half
and
an
then
hour.
you go and find out you got to wait 30 minutes to get a seat.
That was one of the days where I'm like, this isn't worth it to live here. It's just not. That was one of those.
That's
almost
why
breaking
Uber
days.
and stuff is way popular here.
We never do, and I don't know why. I almost
I
Uber here
Uber
tonight.
I Uber a lot of times when I'm going places. Like if I'm going to go drink or something.
Well, I've done it with other people, but I went out with Rodriguez from the Armory.
Go pee.
I gotta
Um,
pee.
You guys need to go take a piss? I could pause this.
Yeah, that's possible.
Let's take a pause.